I'm recording. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Well, we got it. I just need one. I just needed one. That's it.
I almost want you to leave this in the podcast just so I can hear this.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Ready? All right, we'll count. Ready? Are you still recording? Okay, count. Ready? 1, 2, 1. All right, ready? Yes.
Thank you for listening to the Pull It Back podcast. Now here are your hosts, Mike and Andy.
All right, welcome back to the Pull It Back podcast. I am your host, Mike, with my co-host, Andy.
Yo, what's up?
And, of course, we're here in studio with Cody. He's been on the last couple of episodes. And, of course, this was the week that, was it this past weekend? This past weekend.
Yeah, last week.
Because this will come out on Wednesday, so it'll be the past weekend. Well, Avengers Endgame came out. And, of course, the obligatory spoilers ahead.
Yeah.
So, I'll put in a timestamp where you can skip forward if you haven't seen it. Spoiler alert ahead. Please skip forward to 33 minutes to skip over the Avengers Endgame spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're going to be talking about that. First off, how excellent of a movie was it?
Epic as fuck. Satisfying.
Oh, by far and away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you
It was
can
the best
even
movie I've ever seen in my life.
judge it as a movie just because you have to see like
Hands down.
21
Hands down.
movies and it all just kind of, it's just kind of event.
I actually had a coworker of mine that was doing that. He was like, yeah, I brought my dad to go see it. And he didn't watch any of the other movies. I was like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, he was just completely lost. He was like, so what's
And he
going
was
on?
just
Leaning over. I was
lost.
like, dude, I would have choked him to death.
Yeah.
If he'd have kept doing that. I'm like, dude, you're ruining it.
Yeah. I mean, just okay. So I guess let's. Do you want to just break it down from like just the big? Okay, so like the first scene, I think we all knew that Hawkeye was gonna lose his family right there. They started off just like, hey, remember that whole thing from that last movie? We're gonna clue you in on what happened with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Spoiler: it's not good.
Yeah, Hawkeye's entire family gets dusted.
Yeah. Yeah, and he
The
didn't even
very
see them
first
get
scene.
dusted because he kept looking the other ways. You know?
Yeah.
He was like, what? Where?
Yeah.
Hello?
Violet?
Hello?
Okay. What's? Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Do you think he ate those hot dogs because they were like making those food?
I mean, I hope he didn't waste them.
What if they disappeared? Like, what if they were part of the 50%?
If they got dusted too.
The hot dog.
It's like out of the 4 hot dogs,
Yeah.
2 stayed.
No, but that was good. I liked, like the Nebula and Tony Stark kind of having their like they're playing that paper football thing.
Yeah, that was
that
kinda
was
cool.
good. Yeah, they were like you thought he was screwed. You're like, or like I remember somebody saying like I was watching that and I thought, are they gonna kill him now? Like some weird thing like they kind of did with Thanos. Like they killed the other
the
Thanos.
next following scene is them getting Thor
Going
and
to
everything,
space, yeah.
and they go into space to Titan, and then they get Thanos, and he's like, they talk to him, they chop off his hand, and then they keep talking to him. He's like, the stones are gone, or blah blah blah, and then it just cuts his head off.
Yeah,
It was brutal.
yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, that was that scene right there was pretty disheartening. I was like, son of a bitch. And then Thor just goes into Thor by far was my favorite character in this movie
Because he was a drunkard?
just because he looked like the just because he looked like the dude from
Lebowski.
I mean,
Big Lebowski.
Tony Stark. Yeah, Tony Stark is even like move it Lebowski.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep,
You look like melted
that's
ice
where
cream.
all of those.
Yeah.
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 That was the best part, and he was just like a mess the whole time.
I know.
But like, I pretty much, I was so emotional the whole fucking movie. Like, I think I cried like 8 million times.
I got emotional on the Ant-Man seeing his daughter
It was rough.
after
was-
missing 5 years,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Oh, you're
whoa.
so big, and his daughter and stuff. Yeah.
That was a pretty good
So
one.
Ant-Man's trapped in, of course, in the quantum realm, and then that little van.
Cody
that they
predicted
used-
that shit.
Yeah, I know he did, but he was in this little van, and he was trapped in the quantum realm. They took the van to like an impound.
Yeah.
And a rat just so happened
Yeah.
to roll across like the right button and
the
fire
real,
everything
the
up.
real hero of this story.
Was a rat.
The unsung hero.
Yeah. And so it fired it up, and it came out, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? And he went walking around looking for answers and stuff, and then found out that that had happened.
Yeah, because he was worried that Cassie was one of the... And then he finds his name, and he's like, what? And then,
he saw his name on a gravestone.
Oh,
that was nuts.
Yeah, did you know that in that council, like when they jump 5 years, in that council meeting with Cap, and he's in that group session or whatever, and then Joe Russo, one of the directors.
Yeah, one of the directors is the... Yeah.
But also Jim Starlin was also in that group too, the bald man.
Who's that?
He created Thanos, Silver Surfer. Like, he's created a lot of that stuff. He did his little cameo there too.
Oh, I didn't know.
So it was
that.
pretty cool. I saw it the second time and was like, oh yeah, because I'd seen him in interviews before, but I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And Joe Russo apparently is officially the first openly gay character in the MCU, because he was talking about
being gay.
Yeah.
Oh God.
What?
Yeah.
No, I mean, no.
I mean, I get it, but it's like...
No. But you see, the whole
had
thing
to
was,
make
though,
it
is that
special.
I didn't catch really, like... I mean, I understood, but I was like, I just didn't even faze me until, like, I was like, and then until someone said that later and was like, oh, it's the first, I was like, oh yeah, it is.
Well,
but you know what? I was just seeing it as when he said he'd cry after he cried after the salad, and I cried at dessert or whatever. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, I mean, and I'm not trying to get political. We're going to go back to it, but I was just saying, like, as far as him being the first openly gay, like, why does it have to be a thing? How come that can't just be normal?
It was played normal.
I know it was, but then the people in the real world.
Oh well, I mean,
like,
but you should.
It's like,
well, I mean,
on,
Yeah,
man.
Cap took that pretty well. He's from a different time. You'd have thinking he'd be like, Jesus Christ, what the hell's going on here?
I mean, but there's also a comic book movie, so it's like, they're it's a different kind of, like, they don't want to model it that way, but I mean, reality.
Yeah, but
probably...
I feel like real life Cap would have been like, I'm new to this, man. So can you?
Yeah, but he's also been about individual liberty, so that would also be kind of like like, hey, just do you, man.
You do you, boo.
Yeah, but so
yeah,
I like.
But wouldn't it have been hilarious if Cap would have been just like flipped out, like?
I'm sorry. Did you say a man?
God. I mean, I like and then there was so when he came back, Captain Marvel rescues him. I thought he was really going to be able to figure stuff out, but I guess he did that, but he only had enough power to get them 48 hours of flight or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was like, we're still stuck, but like, she came, which was fine. I was cool with that. I was like, okay, let's speed through, because I mean, they can't. There's so much in that movie, but like, so he gets back, lands, and I like that they weren't cool still right at the moment, like, they came back. It wasn't like Cap and him were like, oh yeah, we're good now. He was like, he was actually pissed.
Sad.
He was
that
pissed.
hurt my
He was
heart.
sitting there all inebriated, or like, he was all skinny,
Emaciated.
and, like, emaciated,
yeah.
And like, he was just like, he's like, you know what? He's like, I knew this was going to happen. You said that if we'd fight together, and I said we'd lose, and you said we'll do that together too, and he said, but we didn't. And he's like, you weren't there. And he's like, I don't have anything for you tired old mules. He's like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, just done. And like, and then when it did that, so when it did that 5-year jump, and then you see like, oh, Iron Man has a kid and stuff. I thought that was going to be towards the end. So that's when everything on my theory I got thrown off. I was like, oh, okay, all right. He already has the kid.
Yeah.
He's already got the farm. I thought that was going to be the end of this movie. Totally did. I got flipped. I mean, spoiler alert, Iron Man dies and Cap doesn't. I thought the opposite.
Yeah, I thought the opposite too. I thought
Yeah, we all
Iron Man
thought
was going
that.
to be there. Yeah, so he could do cameos and stuff and continue on, but yeah, he's done.
Yeah,
man.
God, dude, I literally bawled like a baby. Like, I was like, like shaking in my seat.
Yeah.
Isabella was bawling. And I had I showed her Infinity War just, to kind of catch her. She's seen other Marvel movies too, but I showed her Infinity War to catch her back up. And she was like, like, we were both like holding each other's hands and like,
God, it's just like, it's so bad. Yeah, I think
know.
like,
but that whole, God bless that whole scene. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Do you guys ever get like so excited that you cry?
No. I had water eyes.
Is that just me?
I had water eyes 3
Oh,
or
yeah.
4 times in that movie. Where like, if I close my, like, I saw this from a YouTube guy, that one that Zach sent, but there's like,
Oh,
where
yeah,
the
yeah.
guy's like, you got that watery eye, and then you close your eyes, a single tear is going to stream down your face. That's what it was like. Most
So
of
you
the
keep
movie.
your eyes open.
Yeah, but like, no, the like I don't even want to get to right now to the. I'm trying to like the time traveling stuff was great. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Like with the Hulk being Professor Hulk. I know everybody.
Yeah,
was like,
that hit right out of the gate. With
yeah,
that.
yeah, and the CGI on that was just amazing.
I know,
I saw
it
it the
was
second
awesome.
time because the first time it was spectacle. You know, you're just like, whoa, what? I saw it the second time. I was able to really like look at stuff, and I was like, wow, they did so good. Like it's a good blend of like Mark Ruffalo and
I
the
know,
Hulk.
and the actual Hulk was crazy.
And it didn't feel like it didn't feel out of place. And I was the time travel stuff where he was getting Scott Lang in the van, and then he's popping him out, and he's like, I don't know if old me. Someone peed my pants. I don't know if it was old me, baby
Or
me,
little me.
or me
Yeah,
me.
when he kept changing.
Yeah, he's like time travel, right? And he's like no, everything's gonna be good. And he's like, I don't have any idea. Either this is all a joke or none of it is.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like.
But then I think the most devastating part to me was seeing Black Widow die.
Oh yeah, that threw me.
Man.
I literally thought Hawkeye was going. You know?
I was like, Hawkeye's going to do it. But then I was like,
You know
they
what he
can't
did?
kill her. They got to bring her back because he has a movie coming out. But I guess
No,
it's going to
the
have to be a
prequel.
prequel.
Because the whole thing with the Soul Stone is that that's a permanent, like you cannot
It's
change
done.
that. That's part of the rules. Yeah, that's like why Gamora is dead. The old one's dead, but this new one is going to be kind of. That's probably they're going to hit off on that. But like I was, I was surprised.
So I think like the setup for the next Guardians of the Galaxy, because there's going to be more. They already got that shit
Yeah,
slotted.
they've already confirmed it.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure the next one's going to be with, of course, Thor's going to be hanging out with them as a Guardian of the Galaxy now, and they're going to be hunting down Gamora and
As
looking for
Guardians
other
of the
shit.
Galaxy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That was actually a real comic book, the As Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah. It's kind of well, like I like that they did with Hawkeye was a badass in that movie when he was going through
Yeah,
the
it's Ronin.
Yakuza and stuff. Just tearing through. He's like John Wicking everybody.
I know.
I was like, dude,
Yeah.
he's no game. Like he could take a Punisher for a run. you
Yeah.
know?
He was
I
just goosing people, man, left and right.
Yeah, and then I think all the actors had really emotionally strong, or Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. Like when she was sitting there eating that sandwich, and she's getting all teary eyed, like
You're just like, damn.
because she's desperately still trying to still function as this like team, but everybody's kind of split up, kind of doing their own stuff.
I know.
And she wants to know where Barton is. It was so, and then like just seeing like he's like, oh, are you here just to do your laundry? And he's like, yeah, and to check on you. I was like, wow. So it's like everybody's just like, yeah, kind of everything kind of sucks. We're just all like using each other's stuff and like eating sandwiches and not like 4-course meals or something like that. I don't know. It was strange. And then
It was a very somber tone in the very beginning of the movie, and then it starts to
definitely.
escalate.
yeah. I thought that the second time watching it, that the first part would be, since I know everything that's going through, I would be a slower. I noticed that it was longer, but I think it's because I kept getting excited for the next parts of like certain things that I was like, oh, this is coming up. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But the first time we watched it, it blew through so fast. I was like, it's over already. God.
I know.
Like
That, but the end, the big battle at the end was epic.
that music, that what it's called. I think that song's called "Portals" is what it's called.
Yeah.
That when he's like on your left, and then
Yeah.
dude, when he grabbed that hammer, and you can see it
I
slowly
shit
picking up. I
out
was
of
like,
my nipples.
yes, they're gonna do it. I knew exactly. I was like, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But then, like, seeing it, I was just like, shunk, and I was like,
And then
yes.
Captain America has Mjolnir in his hand, and he's just like,
I
everybody
know.
in the theater
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
oh my God.
Yeah, the second time I actually watched it, there was people made a bigger reaction than when we saw it.
Yeah.
There was like, like
'cause
all
I
that-
think everybody was kind of in shock still from
Yeah.
the first time seeing it opening night,
yeah, it was
That-
it was like, yeah,
That part was probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Thor's like, I knew it. And then the whole big scene, they're beating the shit out of Thanos. And then Cap is just standing there calling Mjolnir. And he's like, Avengers.
using his shield.
And he's like, tink, assemble. I was like, good. Like, that's when I was like couldn't control my emotions. And I was like shaking. And like
That I
my
got
penis was
goosebumps
up
on.
my penis was up inside of me because I didn't
I
know
had
if
to
it
tuck
was
it under my
fear.
shirt.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was
Yeah.
excitement or fear. Like the flight or fight response. It was like your penis
Yeah.
shrinks. Really, that's what happened.
Oh, I just loved
That was the exact
Ant-Man
opposite.
punching a space whale.
Oh
Yeah,
That was so dope. I was like, he just
I was
went,
like, oh my god.
I was like, yes, Ant-Man coming in for a win. Yeah, there was like all the stuff like when they all, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, the instant kill.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I
Spider-Man
love that they called
swinging
back
in.
on that. I
Yeah.
love they called back on that because he's like, no, I don't want to kill anybody. But he's like, oh yeah, right, I got insta kill.
I got to kill people.
yeah, and he just went with all
Yeah.
his little legs,
Just
and
tearing people up, man. That was badass.
I'll tell you though,
That's
the
dope
one
as
part
shit.
that I got nervous on was when Captain Marvel came through again, and I thought they were gonna do the Superman problem. Like that's what me and we were talking.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
where I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
she
yeah.
was gonna take out there, and I was like, no, don't do that, because she took out the ship, which I was like, okay, cool, okay, she's just kind of a tool at this point to just take down that.
Yeah.
And then when she did the glove thing, I thought it was pretty cool that Thanos just pulled out the Power Stone and was just like, bah, just
Yeah.
like, got his way out of there. And Pepper being in the rescue armor was like,
Yeah.
I was like, dude,
wicked
that's so cool.
awesome. The whole scene
Yeah,
was
and them
just
doing the back-to-back.
overwhelming.
It's- Yeah, it was everybody in the Marvel universe was there to fight.
Did you guys see? Did you guys
Yeah,
manage to see Howard Duck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I saw it the
I
second
didn't-
time.
I didn't
see
notice
it the
it.
first time. I saw Korg in there too because I didn't see him the first time either.
Who?
Korg.
Oh, Korg? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see him the
Oh.
first time watching it. I saw Meek, but I didn't see
and
Korg.
Meek.
And then so I saw it the second time. I paid attention extra hard, and yeah, I see all the Ravengers and all that stuff. I saw those before, but I saw more like I was like, oh wow, yeah,
Yeah.
like it's everybody. Like so they had like the magicians basically of the school,
Yeah,
the
all
ancient
the
one.
magicians.
They had Ravengers, they had Asgardians, they had Wakandian.
Doctor
Wakandians.
Strange
yeah, they
came
had,
back. They
yeah,
had
they had everything. It was-
everyone.
just the portals and just seeing seeing Cap see that whole army, and then he just straps up that. Did you realize that when he's strapping it up, I think he also might have been using it as a tourniquet,
Like a
because
splint?
he had like an
Yeah.
open gash,
Yeah.
on his arm. I saw it, like I didn't notice it at first, and I was like, oh
Yeah,
wow,
his,
yeah,
hand was- his arm was all cuffed up.
dude, and he was just like going for it. He was like, all right,
He
screw
was
it, and then
getting
just
some, dude.
that on the left stuff. I was like, yes. I was like, and
It was
just,
a very fitting end
dude,
for that guy.
Falcon doing the goddamn the wing
Wing
stab
stab.
on that
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was so dope. I was like, he's got to do that more. That's so dope.
That was awesome.
And then Wanda being all like, you took it. And he's like, I don't even know who you are. She
Yeah.
was like, oh, you will.
Yeah.
And
And just
almost
beat
got
the
him.
shit out of him.
And-
yeah. Well, I thought the
Oh,
scene
yeah.
with the scene with all the chicks. A lot of people are like the first feminist. Like I really
It's like
enjoyed
a-
the
thought it was
spoilers
cool.
without context, and then all the bad bitches of the Marvel Cinematic Universe came. I was like, oh shit. And I got
That was dope.
I got
That was
super
dope.
pumped for that. I was like, man, that is fucking
Okay,
badass.
seeing Valkyrie on a seeing
Yeah.
Valkyrie on a Pegasus was fucking dope when she
Yeah.
flew through there.
That
That was
was
actually one
awesome.
of the things where I think at a point where you see like Ant-Man's giant ass running, you see Valkyrie's Pegasus, you see all these like things that don't match. They should not match together. Like Thor just throwing in with his big old gut and
Yeah.
like braided beard and stuff with his. Oh,
I know.
the-
I thought when like he like harnessed the power when he had the
Oh, then he'd
Stormbreaker.
be all
I thought he was gonna
swole.
get swole again and then like
Nah.
have his beard, but no, it's just like his beard just
I-
got braided up and he was
I-
still fat.
Well,
know,
no,
that
but you
was
know what I
awesome.
noticed though? I think they thinned him. I think that the arm, or like there was parts in that movie when I saw when he was in the final battle. I think they did slim it down a little bit.
A
for
little
him.
bit, yeah.
Because he still got a gut, but it's like a little bit more slimmer. But like, but it was pretty. He looked almost reminded me. It was almost poetic, like he was like Odin looking.
Yeah,
That was kind of cool.
getting a little old, man.
Yeah, but Iron Man and just the whole thing with him, like doing that struggle and just the using that nanotech to basically, because I forgot,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the glove is nanotech, his suit is nanotech, so he just kind of slipped it in
Yeah.
like water and then put that thing on, and remember him just going like, tink. I remember like the second time I watched it, I saw people laughing. They were like,
Oh, when Thanos went to go snap and nothing
happened, and then he's like, huh, and then then you just see like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
shit.
I was.
And then I thought about
shitting
because when
my
we-
pants the whole time. I was like, no.
Yeah, no, because when we first saw it, I at first I was excited, and then I realized in a split second I was like, oh, he's gonna die,
I know.
because I was like, that's the rules of the Infinity Gauntlet. He's
Yep.
not strong enough. He's not. He's a human. He's not Hulk, and he's not Thanos. He's gonna eat it. Now, yeah, and Hulk getting his arm
Hulk
all
got
jacked up.
fucked up too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he barely survived that too.
I don't know. It just goes to prove how strong Thanos
Yeah, and I was
was.
gonna say Thanos is going up against like gods and like murking them. Like, how strong is
Yeah, and
Thanos?
his-
man. Yeah,
He's almost incredibly. He's almost at a godlike level without the Infinity Stones. I mean, he's like.
Are all
he
the
also
Titans
is
like that?
he's technologically enhanced. His race, the Eternals and the Deviants, but he's like he's an Eternal, but with a deviant like look. Like that's why he's all purple and stuff instead of looking like a. He's actually technically through the comics, he's actually from humans. The Eternals are actually we're all from like there's humans. And then there's the Eternals and the Deviants and stuff, and then the Inhumans or whatever.
Yeah.
But everybody's all from that same race, but they were all experimented on, except for when. But Thanos was living on Titan. Those were like humans, but they moved to another planet, and so technically, if you want to say it, he's technically
like a mutant.
to us. But like he's mutated, yeah, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
But like he's godlike levels. He's also got magic. In the comic books, he also is like a pretty well versed in magic and technology and science and
so
he's a genius.
he's good.
Yeah. So that's what. But
Then it just goes to show how badass Captain America was because he was holding his own against Thanos.
Oh yeah, he was jacking him up, man.
Yeah.
With that shield
With
and
Mjolnir. God. Oh my God.
That was awesome. That was so
That
cool.
was that
I mean,
was probably
just
my
like
favorite thing that happened in the whole movie when Cap called Mjolnir, and Thor was like, "I knew it." And I was,
I knew it. Yeah. I love the taco thing where he was like that Scott was eating those tacos and the thing and that bug thing and it blew all out of his taco and then and then he's like and then Nebula's like careful in the landing zone there's an idiot.
Yeah, and then Hulk comes by and like gives him 2 tacos.
yeah. And I was like,
He's
did
like,
you guys
cool.
see any
Thor,
of this?
Thor.
Did you guys see any of the spoilers without context? Like there would just be a taco or a bunch of stairs and the Sailor Scouts all assembled. I was like, I saw so many of those, and then I saw the movie. I was like, oh, they're perfect.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't see it before, but no, I did see him afterwards, and I was like, that's pretty funny. Like,
there was also that one part. I think it was. Yeah, it was towards the end. It was when Cap was having Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
And
he
was like, "Here, you take the
get
little one."
oh yeah, Thor was like, no,
Yeah,
you get the little one.
He gave him the hammer, and he kept Stormbreaker.
Yeah, I like
I thought
when
that
they
was funny.
when they were doing the update for like, okay, this is where all the Infinity Stones are, right, and stuff. And he goes, and then Ant-Man, of course, is the only one that's not heard any of these things, doesn't even know anything about them, and so he's all excited when he's hearing this story. Everybody else is like, yeah, we get it. But he's like, yes, this is glowy. It's not really a rock. I know someone said that earlier. That's wrong. He's like, it's a fluid, like a kind of jelly, kind of like thing or whatever. And he's like, oh, and it fell into Jane, and we used to be an old flame, and he's like,
Dude,
but then
that version of
that was
Thor
the
is
same
the
time
best
that my
Thor.
mother died.
It was funny, man. It was like if Big Lebowski had godlike powers.
Yes.
Seriously.
I love that they were playing Fortnite. And he was like, Thor, that kid on the screen that called me a dickhead
The kid's
again.
back. He's making fun of me.
Yeah.
he's like,
give it
noob
to me.
master.
It's like new Master 22.
No,
he's
it's
like,
69.
69, yeah.
And he's like,
Just talking all kinds of shit to him. And
Yeah, he
he's
was like,
you
"Look
leave
here."
him alone, or I
Yeah.
swear I'll come down and
Yeah.
rip out your throat.
Rip your
what
arms
he's
off and
he's
shove them up
"Hey,
your
new
butt."
master. This is Thor, the son of Odin. Yeah, if you don't if you don't get a log off of this game right now, I will fly over to your house. I will rip off both your arms and shove them up your butt.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, go cry to your father, you little weasel. Yeah. he's like, tell me if he ever talks, but if he doesn't think he's
like,
"Thanks,
Thor."
Thor.
I will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will. He's like, beers in the bucket, Wi-Fi. Yeah. I like that they're enablers of making Thor a loser. They're not trying to help him. They're just like, no, it's cool, man. We got beers here.
But anyways, towards the end of the movie, of course, he had the Captain America. He went back in time to put the souls or put the Infinity Stones back to where they were supposed to be,
put
and
the
then
hammer back. Yeah,
and then overshot his, I guess, return place.
Yeah, he knew like what he's doing because when he
Yeah.
went up to Bucky, he was like, don't do anything stupid till I get back. That's what Captain. He's like, how can I? You're taking all the stupid with you, which was a nice callback.
Yeah.
And I think he knew.
And
Sam didn't know.
Well, Cap went all the way back to
The 40s,
1942, 3,
Probably,
whatever.
yeah,
Well,
right.
Yeah, 1946.
Well,
and then he finally got with Peggy.
We talked about that.
And lived happily
We
ever
talked
after.
about that on an earlier episode. How sad a story Captain America had. And, when I saw him sitting on the park bench, I was like, yeah, that's Cap. And I was like, he finally found his happiness. And then, you see the ring.
He got a
He
life.
passed the the shield onto Falcon, so he's going to be Captain America now. And it's like, he saw the ring, he's like, you can just tell me about that? And he's like, no, I don't think I will. And I was like,
No, I don't think I will.
that is the best possible ending to Captain America that could have happened. He finally finally found his happiness. He can finally just rest and be happy. And I was like, oh, my heart.
Think of the balls that Sam had to tell Hulk. He's like, get him the hell back. And he's like, Hulk's like, I could slap you into 1,000 pieces right now. Like, hold on, I'm trying, dude. Yeah, that was I mean, that whole movie just. I can't wait for it to come on Blu-ray. I'm just gonna watch it.
I want it so bad. I want to watch it now, but it's not coming out until August.
That's not that bad. I mean,
late July, early August.
Think about how it was when we were kids.
For real? Oh wow.
Think about how bad it was when we were kids.
That would be like
years.
Years.
Ugh.
I know. Like 2 years later, Lion King finally comes out. You're just like, I don't even care anymore.
Like, oh, that was a movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, because
I'm smoking cigarettes now. Yeah,
you know they're almost at $2 billion. I think they just crossed $2 billion.
I thought I heard. I thought I heard something about $4 billion.
No. They're definitely not that far.
Make your predictions,
but they're definitely going that way.
Do you think it's going to be the highest grossing movie
by the end of this whole run?
Yeah.
Yes. I believe. Probably by the end of this run, I bet you they make.
They're at
3 point.
They're at 2.2 right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I predict that by the end of this run, because people will stop, seeing it as many times. People are going to see it a lot, but eventually everybody's seen it like 3 or 4 times. But I bet you at the end of the day, it's $3.5 billion is what it.
That's what I was thinking.
On
close
by the end
to
of this
4.
run. Close to 4.
Well, it says it says box office. Can Avengers Endgame topple Avatar's $2.8 billion record?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is only week 2.
It took 48 days for Avatar to get to that number.
And these guys have only been out a week.
I think it does it in less time, and it probably tops it by quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, they just launched, I think, in like China and India and stuff.
No, China. I thought it was like universally all at the same time.
Oh, here it goes. It says time it took to reach $2 billion at the box office. Titanic 5,233 days. Force Awakens 54 days. Infinity War 48 days. Avatar 47 days. Endgame 11
Holy
days.
Shit!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're good. I think it's gonna blow it out of the water.
So it took Titanic almost a decade to get to $2 billion at the box office. What were they replaying it or something?
Yeah, I think they put it back in. They put it back in theaters a couple times.
Oh yeah, they kept re-releasing it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They did that. They were trying to squeeze that out as long as they could. So it was kind of a cheat on that one. And then the whole thing with Avatar was that it was like one of those 3D movies, so that's why it made so much, because everybody's like, you have to see it in 3D.
Yeah.
But
that's just,
this is just based off of just purely just people going and seeing this in droves and then seeing it multiple times. I mean, I've talked to 2 or 3 people that have already seen it twice or 3 times.
Yeah, I'm probably going to see it several times.
And that's that. And
yeah, I want to go see it again.
Yeah, I'm going to go see it one more time probably, and then just kind of. Then by that point, ride it out for a little while. And then Spider-Man Far From Home will come out in July 7th,
sweet.
I think.
So we don't have to wait that long.
And then, and then probably the Endgame will come out on Blu-ray or digital.
Yeah,
and then I'll watch the crap out of that. 5-hour.
So Cody, who's your favorite superhero of all time?
Marvel and DC or just Marvel? Any?
Well, I would say obviously I like Batman a lot, but really, if I'm being honest, it's probably Cap is probably one of my tops.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, it just depends. I guess in comic book version wise, I would say I like Doctor Strange a lot in comic books. Actually, he's more but I like my top 5 for Marvel MCU characters is probably Cap, Bucky, Winter Soldier, so Cap, Bucky, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man. I mean, so that's 5. Yeah. So those are my tops that I always.
I agree because the Batman comics are way better.
Yeah. No, DC runs better in comic books than
by
Marvel right now. But I mean, there's some great Marvel runs, but they're like
you really got to look for it.
like 2000s to 2008 is usually where I think those were the sweet spots of good runs.
Have you read the new Deceased?
No, I haven't read that yet.
Yeah,
no.
I just got it.
Me and
I'm gonna read
Zach were
tonight.
just talking about it. It's kind of like a Marvel Zombies What If kind of story.
That's DC.
But I know, but it's DC.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a
Yeah. It's like Batman versus or the Justice League versus all these zombies.
Yeah.
Like half the population gets turned into zombies, basically.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Like, I mean that movie. Like, I like that they did the callbacks to. They actually made Thor: The Dark World even more significant.
Yeah.
Because of that movie.
Yeah.
And actually, I actually don't hate that movie as much as I thought I did. I disliked. Or I never disliked any
I
of
could
them
have lived
really.
without it. Yeah, it was
the
definitely weaker.
One,
I mean,
now I'm tied. Now
I'm
it's tied
glad
in.
that they
so
decided
it means
to
more.
turn Thor around and kind of make him this goofball, like kind of an idiot, like comic relief type thing, instead of being so super serious that they tried to make it, because they were like, this isn't working. This isn't really working with him being serious. So let's turn him into kind of a nerd.
And Chris Helmsworth.
So they did that, and Ragnarok was by far the best Thor film and one of my favorite MCU movies because he was hilarious, and that's how should be. Just kind of a dumbass. Yeah,
They made him shine, man. But that bottom line is that movie just it's our Star Wars of our
absolutely
time.
recommended. Yeah, it was the best movie I think we'll ever see in our lifetime.
It's going to be the biggest event movie that we'll probably ever seen in our lifetime.
Oh, for sure.
For a while. I
For
mean,
sure.
I can't imagine anything else really building up to this kind of hype and
I
this
agree.
being this exciting.
Yeah, I think the Avengers
ever again.
movies / Marvel movies are going to be what our generation is to, or Star Wars is to the last generation, as MCU is to ours.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like, because I love the Star Wars movies
For sure.
but they don't resonate like the MCU movies do to me. Because we're a little bit older. It's been going on for quite a while now, and we've seen them all. I'm pretty sure I've seen every Marvel movie ever made.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is our
we've seen
generation.
them all, and it's also
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just the story that makes it relatable, but it's like the spectacle of like the CGI, the constant action, which really fuels the ADD nature of nowadays. I mean, it's just like, and instead of it being Star Wars, where it was one movie released every 2 years, I think it was. This is like
Star
a
Wars
couple
had-
movies released every year, so it's like it just fuels the. I can't
Exactly.
wait till the next one.
Oh yeah. Star Wars had that cool off period though. They had like up from till the 80s, and then they cooled off. Then they went like for a decade. Then had the 90s, and then they cooled off a little bit there, and then they went back
Brought it
again.
back in the early 2000s.
So I mean, they've had cooling off periods where people were able to go, oh, okay, and some of those movies weren't really well received. So I mean, that also kind of split some fans. But
for sure.
I mean, MCU's constantly for almost 11 years, basically just been pumping out
They were
movies.
just solid gold.
And it's like kids have grown up with this movie. That's the crazy thing I think about is like if a 10-year-old watched these movies,
they're
right?
Adults.
Or like an 8-year-old or something. They're an adult now.
Yeah,
That's so crazy to me.
I know, it's crazy, man.
Lucky bitches.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take just a quick break, and then we will be right back with more Pull It Back podcast. Welcome back to the Pull It Back podcast. We are done talking Avengers Endgame, so no more spoilers. We're just going to move on to stranger news, strange articles that we've fallen across over the past week. So the first one that I have is you may have already heard this before, but it was just so gut-wrenching that I had to bring it up again. So there was a Louisiana woman. She was outside of a Walmart taking donations for the Salvation Army on Christmas Eve, which, well, I don't know, very nice people do.
Crazy people.
She gave birth in the Walmart bathroom and then dumped the baby in the trash can. She was deemed unfit to stand trial. So, I mean, she was so messed up in the head that she can't even stand trial. They're sending her straight to prison.
So they're claiming she has a mental illness.
Yeah.
What?
So that's what she's basically like. She's too insane
What the
to.
hell?
Yeah, so she was like, she didn't know she was pregnant. She dropped, like, basically she gave birth in on the toilet, essentially, and then picked up the baby and threw it in the trash can outside.
Jesus.
And then this
Jeez.
baby was alone, like basically sitting in the trash can for, I think it was like 4 to 6 hours.
Jesus.
When the Walmart employee found her in the bathroom. So she's thrown in the bathroom trash can. I thought it was outside trash can.
No.
But regardless.
Yeah.
Incidentally, this was not the first time that Thomas has been accused of harming a child.
Oh, God.
What the fuck? And she's still walking? So she's mentally handicapped. Clearly.
Absolutely. Well, so what happened was they found the body of a 3-year-old boy named Damien McElveen was found inside of the van that belonging to Wanda's Kids World, a daycare center that once employed Thomas in 2009.
Whoa.
They found it because she basically left him in a hot car.
Oh, God.
And killed him.
Jesus.
So, and this was at a daycare.
Holy
so she got fired,
shit.
and then she was like working for Salvation Army, and then gave birth to a baby, and then threw it in the trash can for 4 to 6 hours. And this is Christmas
Jesus
Eve, so
Christ.
you know it's cold.
Yeah.
And this Walmart employee found it, called the police. Of course, they came. The baby was barely alive,
Yeah.
but
It made it?
it made it.
Oh, good. At least there's some good news there.
So Thomas was subsequently sentenced to 5 years probation and 10,000 hours of community service. This was for killing that 3-year-old kid.
Oh, wait. She got...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so Louisiana is one of the several states that currently has a safe
Louisiana.
haven
Okay.
statute at play. Under that law, which is occasionally referred to as the Baby Moses Law, in reference to the plight of the biblical character, overwhelmed parents can drop off unharmed newborns or infants at the state-designated hospitals or firehouses. So basically, if you're like, I can't take care of this kid, you can just drop it off.
That's so crazy.
It's legal for you to do that in
Wow.
Louisiana.
You said this is in Louisiana?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it.
So,
Well,
That's-
that's
the
I
story
guess
is
that's a little
definitely-
better than just dumping them.
I guess.
Yeah.
Good God.
yeah.
That is so dark.
Yeah, that was really dark. I was like, that is absolutely disgusting.
Just people are just so fucking horrible sometimes.
Yeah,
Dude.
so she killed a kid
Yeah.
in daycare by leaving him in a hot car.
Neglecting it, yeah.
And then gave birth to a baby while collecting for the Salvation Army, and then just dumped it in the trash can like, oh, whatever, I don't want this.
Who's fucking this piece of garbage?
I'm
They're
sure
not-
she's giving it to anybody that wants it.
Ugh.
And you know nasty-ass dudes are out there like, yeah, I'll fuck you, you silly goose.
Yeah.
And she's just shitting out kids. And she's like, I don't know what to
Yep.
do with this.
Yeah. I just put it in the
Like
trash
Chunk
can,
them
I
in the
guess.
trash. Gross.
Yeah, absolutely gross. Man.
disgusting.
So you said you had a messed up story, right? Or strange. I mean, it doesn't have to be messed up.
I was gonna
Oh,
say, like,
me?
Jesus, we're going to...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. China strikes again. Dude, it's like every other fucking week China's doing some fucked up shit. So apparently
Well,
Chinese
yeah,
scientists...
Some Black Mirror shit?
It's insane. Yeah, seriously. Like Chinese scientists create... Check this out. Chinese scientists create super monkeys by injecting brains with human DNA.
Injecting their brains?
Injecting their brains with human DNA. We're talking
So this
Planet
is
of the
the
Apes
Apes.
shit now.
Planet of the Apes, yeah.
God damn it.
Yes.
And all these anti-vaxxers are all going to die from that, and then they're going to be
Oh
able
my
to
God,
take us
don't
out
even
'cause
get
of
me
They're
religious
gonna have
started.
super AIDS monkey virus. And
Yeah,
then, you
like-
know, as soon as they get smart enough, they're going to start making like a porn channel with this kind of stuff.
Ew.
You know, these human-like monkeys and blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to be like all these diseases get
It's going to be
flopped
like the
around and then
top-rated category on Pornhub.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like speaking monkeys.
Monkey vagina
They're
is
just
so much
like
tighter
humans.
than humans.
They're so
Ew.
much smaller,
Ew.
like a capuchin.
They're gonna have the
Imagine, that's
fleshlights.
disgusting.
Like, yeah, you can get a
Ew.
great ape
They're
vagina.
hairy, too.
$69.99.
They're hairy, too.
So how did they? So they just injected human DNA in a monkey, and then they were like, hopefully it'll
Apparently.
become smarter.
Well, apparently the researchers transferred a gene linked to brain development called MCPH1 to the rhesus monkey embryos. And, you know, apparently rhesus monkeys are known to be like, I guess, the harbinger for AIDS disease, I think it was. And many other like terrible, horrible, communicable diseases. So basically,
They're gonna make AIDS airborne.
That's
Like
I
a
mean,
spray.
dude, they're gonna make some super monkey, and it's just gonna be like Planet of the Apes. They're gonna be like super intelligent, and they're gonna kill everything. There's gonna be a crazy outbreak of some sort of virus that nobody can ever. You know, it almost makes Thanos seem gentle with his approach. It's like
No shit.
We're gonna kill ourselves. We don't have to worry
It's like,
about a giant
he's
purple
like-
alien.
he just zapped them out of existence. They just got dusted. They don't exist anymore. They're not like slowly getting murdered and overrun by monkeys.
So we're gonna tear our limbs apart and shit.
I don't know, man. It's like, I mean, what was it? A couple weeks ago, China was trying to create artificial suns. Now they're trying to inject. Like it seems like they're trying to
They're
create
the Wild West.
They're trying to create some crazy, like steampunk version of the
a
world.
world?
Yeah, like super technologically advanced shit that they just do crazy, dark, evil thing. It's like the Nazi movies, like you see that they're creating super soldiers in the basement, and
Because they don't have those sanctions or whatever. or anything
exactly,
like that.
yeah, they're just
like,
they're doing the craziest shit imaginable, and the world's just like, yeah, that's cool. We're not going to do shit against China. They're one of the biggest superpowers. So it's like they're getting away with all this crazy shit, but they're inevitably going to create something so terrible that they're going to rule the world. They're going to be like, guess what? We got a super crazy monkey virus and a super soldier monkey army that we don't even have to waste Chinese lives anymore in the military. We're just going to drop them in like these little capsules, and they're going to invade all the cities. And if you get bit by them, you're going to have a super terrible disease. So it's like,
rabies.
Yeah, you're going to have super rabies, and it's going to turn people into like bleeding bags of guts, and it's going to be the apocalypse. And it's going to be like, guess what? Everybody's speaking Chinese now. So
And monkey.
yeah, or monkey. I mean, I don't
Monkey,
know. That might
monkey
be
and Chinese.
That might be kind of cool. It might bring about like actual superpowers. You might be like ridiculously strong, be a little more hairier than usual, but then you could like.
Is that a bad thing sometimes?
yeah. I mean, I'm already kind of there anyway. So.
It's warmer in the winter.
Yeah, the nuclear winter.
Yeah. I also came across one. It was a Texas oil and gas company. This Texas oil and gas company made large drill bits used in fracking.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a very, testy issue.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of people are about that. But this is what they did. They coated them in like a hot pink, these drill bits in hot pink to raise awareness for breast cancer.
Oh, how nice.
They're drilling oil for breast cancer.
Yeah. And then they donated $100,000 to Susan B. Komen Foundation. So I just thought that was
So only like 20,000
ironic.
of that's going to the actual charity itself, right?
Probably, yeah. But yeah, this was they got these huge rock breaking drill bits they use in fracking. They painted them pink.
That's so stupid.
How generous.
You could.
It's like, come on, man. I know it's like you oil
Pandering.
companies are pretty freaking evil,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's not gonna sway the public opinion.
Well, fracking was causing earthquakes in Arkansas, right? Yeah,
Really?
I read I actually.
Oh yeah, I mean I think I've heard of that.
I read
yeah.
some articles about it. Like when I was in school, like they were talking about some kind of geography stuff. So I was reading different articles, and I was like, "Holy shit! I had no idea it's actually causing like not cataclysmic earthquakes, but if these dudes are causing earthquakes, little tremors like that, and they're registering on the Richter scale, what could it do on a fault line? Like if they find oil, they're like, guess what? Nobody's going to stop us from drilling, and then they cause, California to fall off into the ocean, which is not too bad. But then we wouldn't get any more Marvel movies.
Exactly.
They shoot a lot of them in Atlanta, so we'd still
Oh,
be
sweet.
okay.
Never mind then.
They just have to
Yeah,
move
they
there.
can get rid of them.
There's their big bases in New York for the Marvel. So really, we could manage. It'd be
Yeah.
okay. The actors would probably all be dead because that would probably be a bummer. But
Well, I have one more story that this is just. I mean, it's tobacco company Philip Morris. I'm sure you guys know that they sell Marlboro
Yeah.
cigarettes.
yeah,
They are getting into the life insurance business.
That's
Okay.
ironic.
how?
Yeah. So they're starting a life insurance firm that offers discounts to smokers who quit.
Huh.
Yeah.
That
Ain't that
is.
funny? They said this insurance company is called Revity. The wholly owned subsidiary will initially sell life insurance in the UK with plans to expand into more markets overseas. Smokers will receive discounts if they stop, quit, or switch to a possibly less carcinogenic product like Philip Morris's vaping devices.
So they're getting them coming and they're getting them going. So they got their whole bases covered. So now they can look good by advocating stopping smoking, but they're also like, guys, come on.
Well, yeah. Well, they also
it's a business.
Well,
now
Philip
for 'em.
Morris recently launched this thing that you buy real cigarettes, right? And it's a vaping thing, and you put the cigarette in it, and instead of burning it, it just vapes or like vaporizes the tobacco.
Like a dry leaf burner.
So it's basically kind of
That's so stupid. I'd rather just smoke it and look cool. You're gonna look like a dope if you're fucking.
Yeah, you're still pushing a button, but you're putting like a real cigarette in it.
Yeah, that's stupid. I would hate you more than anybody. If you did that, I'd be like, just put a cigarette in your mouth.
Like
and light
Audrey
it. Jesus.
Hepburn with one of those long ass black cigarette things.
Yeah.
Like, darling, welcome to the dinner
holders.
party.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that pisses me off about it is that Philip Morris is, I guess, apparently they're hoping to stop selling cigarettes altogether. It's like, no shit. It's like the public opinion on cigarettes is way past like repairable. So if you don't stop trying to sell cigarettes, you're going to go out of business. So they're just like, they're making a shift and they're trying to make it seem like we're the good guys.
Well, they're definitely going to go into the weed business. I'm pretty sure they probably already bought.
I'm sure they already are.
I'm sure that. I mean, but that's like Michael said to his points that he's made several times. They will make something illegal until companies can find a way to monetize it, and then they will capitalize on it. So it's just how the things the things go, man. Like as long as pots. But the thing is, they're going to be making some fucking genetically modified, weak ass bullshit, dirt weed, and they're gonna genetically modify it, and then it's going to start causing cancer instead of actually getting the benefit of.
They'll put addictive properties.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, see, marijuana is addictive.
No, I don't think they'd use it that way, but I think they would do it so that they're like, you could go get this person's weed, but they'd be like, it's driving you to theirs or something.
The thing about it was, I mean, it's just ridiculous that marijuana is still illegal, even though alcohol is legal, which has killed more people.
Yeah,
cigarettes are still completely legal. You can buy them at any convenience store, and then that kills a lot more people.
One of the leading causes of death.
It's like, dude,
heart disease.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, stroke and all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it blows my mind that they're just like, no, cigarettes are cool, but weed is bad.
Because they've already made a business plan for those.
It's like that meme you sent earlier. That wasn't even a meme. It was an actual, an ad for Winston cigarettes.
Oh, the real ad for Winston cigarettes.
Describe that real quick.
Oh.
Because I was like, you've got to be shitting me. This is real?
Yeah, that's a real ad. I actually saw it on Mike Rowe's Instagram page is where I got it from. So it's a Winston cigarette box. And this is a page from I'm guessing something like a magazine or a newspaper. And this is from, I don't know how long
50s,
ago. I'm sure it was
60s,
not too
50s,
long ago.
Something like that. Yeah.
Maybe. No, I think it was
when
like
they
maybe
were like,
the 70s.
Here's your vitamins.
They're still doing that then.
It's in a cigarette. Well, it's a box of Winston cigarettes next to a very pregnant woman. And she's got a big smile on her face, and she's holding a cigarette. And at the bottom it says, "Taste isn't the only reason I smoke. People are always telling me that smoking causes low birth weight. Talk about a win-win. An easy labor, a slim baby, and the full flavor of Winston's."
Yeah, because it's dying inside of you.
And then the best part about this is the bottom left. It says Winston when you're smoking for two.
Oh, I want to know who the person was that put that in.
That's
so
the
morbid.
thing that cracks me
It's
up.
awesome,
like
though. That's kind of funny.
That generation, the baby boomers, are like, "Oh my god, marijuana is the root of all evil. It's turning people. It's going to make you kill your parents." Guess what, honey? I brought you your carton of Winston's today. Now you can smoke with your third trimester? Smoke up.
Your unborn child.
And you wonder why the baby boomers are making such piss poor decisions when it comes to the fucking economy in the country. They're like,
because they were all born
stupid.
with low birth weight.
They were doomed to failure from the beginning. Like, yeah, my mom smoked when she was pregnant. What of it? Mm-hmm. I have mild brain damage.
I only
have mild brain damage. Guess what? You're a U.S. senator now. It's like that. Yeah. That's hilarious.
It's like, pay me,
it's
baby.
It's hilarious to think that something like marijuana is God, we talk about that shit till we talk about beating a dead horse. But it's so annoying.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but I
it's
mean,
such an
no.
obvious, it's such a crazy
because
thing.
there's no more argument about it.
Yeah, it
But
seems
people
so
still,
clear.
it's just so, it's pure ignorance at this point.
Or just stubbornness to not
It's
want to.
stubborn. Well, yeah, it's stubbornness and ignorance, and there's no argument
I
for the
know.
other side
It's-
anymore.
it's-
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the
It's
baby,
like, just
like
do
I said,
it.
the baby boomer generation is the ones that are stonewalling this shit, and they are members of Congress. And it's like, dude, your parents smoked while you were in the womb. Do you think that's more harmful than marijuana? Because if you think that, some of those effects are taking place right now, because you clearly have.
Well, I mean, if a woman's pregnant,
Well,
you
no
shouldn't
shit,
be smoking
but I'm
pot
saying,
anyway.
like, how can they sit there and be
Yeah,
against
I mean,
legalizing intelligent use of marijuana versus, guess what? Yeah, smoke up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got two people. Smoking for two.
They were probably like scientists back then were like, smoking makes people pretty stupid. They'd be a lot easier to control in the future if they were,
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
dumb.
it'd be
Have them all
like-
smoke.
They're gonna lose. It's like technically this isn't not true because if you smoke, it curbs your appetite for certain things, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna lose weight. So technically, we're not lying, but we're not really
Disingenuous
being
as shit.
direct about
But
the
it's
rest
like-
of the stuff.
I know.
That
Yeah,
goes to show you
basically.
how easily controlled the population was back in the day. Like, with
Mm-hmm.
Put it on a newspaper
But,
or put
you
it in a
know-
magazine. Yeah, sure.
the people were a lot dumber back then because there was no internet. Nobody was really informed as they could be. And now you got people who are way in the know, but you still have people like anti-vaxxers that, guess what? I read one article by a doctor that was completely discredited that says vaccines are linked to autism. Yeah.
On a YouTube
And
channel.
They've completely debunked that idea, and now babies are getting measles. So it's like there's an epidemic in the Pacific Northwest
dumb.
because that's where the group of these idiots live, and they're like, well, exactly, we're not
Seattle
going to
and
vaccinate
Portland
our
and all that
kids.
shit.
And then babies who are too young to be vaccinated yet are getting sick because of these fucking morons.
Yeah, because they can, it's that
Yes,
article that I
it's
told you about.
absolutely
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that was like there was a lot of these younger babies that aren't old enough to get these vaccines. They rely on what was it called? They rely on, it's like a communal. It's basically where everybody's already vaccinated.
Yeah.
So like the baby's covered because everybody's vaccinated, so nobody around it can get it.
Yeah.
Well, since this is not happening and people aren't getting vaccinated for this, the baby's more susceptible to it because it can't be vaccinated. It's not old enough yet.
Yeah.
So then now this baby has measles and has a pretty high chance of dying.
So it's like it's like there's a window of like hope you survive it.
Yes, good luck.
Yeah,
Oregon
you die
Trail
of
my ass.
dysentery.
Yeah. Like I mean, this is basically what they're fucking
Yeah,
doing.
we got our crystals will heal you.
You die of
It's like
measles.
if these
yeah.
people,
Yeah. God.
you know, it's like
Earth.
you said, Mike. It's like flat earthers are dumb in their own right, but they're not harming anybody. They're trying to disprove something that everybody knows is real.
Exactly.
They have overwhelming evidence to support the contrary to their beliefs. Let them figure it out. They'll, you're like, oh,
It's like
you
cute.
little
You're like,
dummies. But these anti-vaxxer people are real problems. They are legitimate issues, and they should be smote. Well, I don't know about that. That's
Eradicated.
a little strong. But
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to eradicate themselves.
yeah, but
they're going to
definitely they
eradicate
should
themselves.
definitely-
And the thing is, like I said,
I know.
They definitely
Yeah.
need to make it where they
I
have
totally
to do
agree.
it.
It's
But
gonna
you
get to
know,
that
It's a
point.
public health.
where do you draw the line at, forcing somebody to do something? Like, that does that.
When it
but
causes
does it-
measles.
Yeah.
Now, does it
And other
interfere with somebody's
diseases.
Well,
personal freedom? But
I mean, if
the
we-
thing is, if your kid's sick,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
well, they
but
have
I mean,
that
if your
already
kid's
with
gonna
schools,
make everybody else sick,
right?
you shouldn't be allowed to choose because that's fucking child abuse. If you are that stupid, you shouldn't be
Well,
allowed
no.
to choose.
What I'm saying,
Schools.
I'm saying, well, if you don't get if you don't have your kids vaccinated, they can't
and then
go to public
anti-vaxxers
school.
are speaking
Yeah.
that, oh, that's against my beliefs.
Like they won't allow them
But
to go.
those
That's
dumb-
like,
and then
well, your beliefs are stupid.
But that's also dumb. Yeah, but it's also dumb because they're also going to just be like, well, I'll just homeschool my kid and put him in a bubble that of my
At least they won't be spreading measles.
True, but then they'll go out in the world and they'll be like,
do you think they're...
Look, see, I was fine, never got vaccinated, homeschooled.
Let's back that
I like
up.
to lick
Let's
public
back that up.
chairs.
Do you think they're even going to be able to go out in public? They're probably going to
toilet
die at age 5, so it doesn't really matter. They're just... so,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because they do that whole baby bird or mama bird
yeah,
method
they
of
feed
feeding
their
their
mouths.
kids.
It's really...
Yeah, ew.
They chew it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
Thanks,
these
Mom.
people, they're going to breed themselves out of existence. So hopefully soon it's not a problem.
Hopefully.
Maybe we should do what we were talking about with mosquitoes, like where those scientists were making
Infertile?
like one
Yeah.
mosquito like infertile. Yeah, and then like sent it out in the wild, and then like it'll be like a domino effect, and eventually like all the mosquitoes will become infertile
Right.
because it's a gene that gets passed on.
Oh.
And maybe they'll do that with people like an anti-vaxxer. They're like, all right, this is like your anti-vax shot. And like, sweet, I'll take that. And then they take it, but it's like an infertile shot, and it just makes them infertile, and they'll never be able to have babies again. And then it just spreads throughout the anti-vax community.
I think that would be pretty sweet. like a genophage on Mass Effect. Like it just spreads stuff so they can't reproduce, like certain people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, they already tried doing that with cornflakes. So,
I made people infertile through cornflakes.
well, I mean, it was cornflakes was originally made to stop
they
people
put
from
that,
masturbating. I
It did
swear.
not. It not. I've ate
At the same
cornflakes and
time.
masturbated.
Yeah,
It did nothing.
Mr. Kellogg, the guy that made cornflakes,
Yeah.
he was like, I'm going to make this cereal because it's like low in nutrition, and it basically all it does is just fill your stomach up. It doesn't
It makes
like,
you lethargic.
It makes you a little more lethargic, so that makes you less. It kills your
I
sex
think-
drive because there's
what
no
is
protein
that?
in it. And then they eventually it's supposed to
God,
make
people
you
back
not
then are
masturbate.
such pieces of shit for dumb
I
reasons.
know. They want you to smoke while you're pregnant and eat cornflakes. So you didn't
You
jerk
know,
it.
oh my god! All
hell
in
on
the
earth.
name of,
Yeah.
don't have sex out of wedlock. Jesus is watching.
Some religion.
I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
You gotta try the milk before you buy the cow. I'm sorry. That's just that's
You
literally
got- you
it makes
have
no
to.
sense to me.
I mean, what if you like? I'm waiting till marriage.
I
And
mean,
then you,
think about it this way.
First
Yeah.
time you guys get it in,
Miserable.
you're like, oh my god, this is I hate them. Yeah,
She's just
it's
grating
like
teeth on
nails
your
on a
dick,
chalkboard.
and you're like,
I'm
okay,
oh
yeah, this
my
isn't.
god. She's giving toothy fucking
Yeah.
blowjobs. Yeah,
She's like, that's not
giving
comfortable.
The
I don't really
toothiest
feel
of
for that.
blowjobs, and you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
god.
Toothies. Yeah. No.
That's disgusting.
You find out she's
Ever.
like, no, I don't shave down there ever. I haven't shaved down there since I started puberty. You're
Oh,
like,
God.
oh my god. It's like I braided it.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's like
I comb it.
there's certain things that don't age well with the morals of like those old people. It's just like there's just no way that's gonna work for me. I'm not gonna.
Well, it's
not,
like I think they made
like
these.
date somebody and be like, okay, well,
They had to
I
have
just want to
made
make sure
those
we're
things-
compatible.
And they were like,
Yeah,
guys,
I mean-
we are our population is booming out of control. Our crops are only going to last till next winter. We got to find a way to keep these guys from fucking. And they're like, I got a really good idea. Let's say that if God is watching you and you have sex out of wedlock, you're going to go to hell. And your kid will go to hell too. And they're like, whoa,
Piece
that's
of-
pretty
Hey.
scary. Let's do that one. I mean, it
Mind-blowing
controlled the
stuff. Not a bad thing.
population, but
Look,
it's
I'm
an
just saying-
antiquated way of thinking.
But no. But what ruined the population was that Roman Catholics, they were like, you need to have as many kids as you possibly can after you're married.
and there's no birth control.
Yeah, you can't use birth control. So once they got married, they had like 6, 7, 8 kids,
And they're like, perfect.
and then it just
Yeah. Well, and it's also
population went.
well.
Yeah.
Also, the thing is, it was like, okay, so you're only
You
supposed
just bred us 8 more Catholics.
Yeah, so you're supposed to only bang when you're trying to procreate, and you also can't masturbate. Do you know what's going to happen if you don't do either of those things for a while? You're just going to splooge in your bed. That's a lot of laundry.
Mhm.
That's a lot of embarrassment. No, like
Yeah,
Like,
and then your mom
I
will
guess
make
there
you
was,
kneel on
uh,
rocks or something.
I was talking to this girl, and she didn't realize that's yeah. She didn't realize that like if we don't do something to release that thing,
Uh-huh.
there's maintenance to it.
Yeah.
If you just don't, you'll just jizz in your bed. And she was like, really? And I was like, yes. It's like something filling up. You know those water meters? You're like, it just fills up and then it spills over.
It's a
like
boiling
eventually
pot. It's a
it's got to
boiling
go
pot.
somewhere. It's
Yeah.
you're
It's
creating
just about,
new.
It's about to go over.
Yeah.
I know.
And she was like, wow, I guess I didn't think. I was like, so that's what always makes me angry when it's like it's either like, look, I'm either I'm masturbating or I'm having sex.
Ooh.
I can't. I'm not gonna.
I got to do it somehow.
And also, your mind needs to be clear of like everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a minefield if you don't. I went like a week, didn't do anything,
You were like,
and I'll tell you
seeing
what. The end of that
things.
week, I'm not a violent person, but there were some things that I was just like grinding my teeth. Like I will fucking punch.
I
this
figured you would have been
person
able to
in the
like
head.
read minds and
It's
levitate.
Just being in line, like taking their time. Like just was like I felt I was like I just gotta go home. I gotta do something. I gotta.
Or like when you're in a rush at a gas station and somebody's like trying to pick which
Oh,
scratch off
fuck.
tickets they
Or
want.
they
yeah.
scratch
Oh,
them
my
right
God.
there at the counter. You're like,
Choke 'em.
God damn it! I just want it. Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Can you move?
Or my favorite is when they're about to leave. They just purchased their stuff and they go, oh, you know what? Actually, let me get some of that right there, and they grab another thing. So they're still gonna wait in line, but they have to do a whole nother transaction.
Yeah.
I want to choke somebody at that.
It's like, you know what you need to do? You need to take this anti-vax vaccine.
Have you seen this?
I mean, you
anti-vax,
can't procreate
anti-vax?
anymore.
It'll make you
hated it.
lose a lot of weight. Really?
Actually, speaking of this, oh my god! But I actually can't like speaking of this anti-vax shot. Pharmaceutical clinical trials that they usually do here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're becoming too expensive in the United States, so they are moving them
Oh my
overseas.
god!
Oh well. Yeah.
So
Bye-bye,
it's
Dubs.
going to be like outsourced to India. They're going to be like, oh, it's
Yeah,
good.
we are outsourcing
They're
pharmaceutical
like,
trials.
it doesn't cause 3 more toes on your
Yeah.
hand, so
Yep.
it's good enough.
Well, actually,
Gotta
one
be
of
good.
them, one of
God,
them is
that's
moving to
even worse.
Warsaw,
It's like Eastern Europe.
Pharmaceutical
Eastern Europe,
company.
they're like,
Poland.
Poland.
I guess it's okay, He only kind of died.
It's like, yeah, but there was also another country that outsourced their pharmaceutical clinical trials to Poland at one point, and it didn't go down so well.
It's Nazis. That's what I was literally thinking when you said that. I was like,
That's what
oh,
happened.
so they're gonna start trying to put dye in people's eyes and stuff.
yeah,
so they
like
can
we're
make
gonna be
blue?
testing stuff.
They're dumb.
But we can
They're
only do it in
dum-dums.
Poland because
Yeah.
those guys are,
Well, I mean,
they're Polish.
We come from Polish blood, and somebody made a joke one time. I'm not easily offended, so hopefully our listeners aren't easily offended. But I'm half Mexican, and I got Polish blood in me. So he was like, I was like, yeah, I'm a Polexican. So he's like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm Polish and Mexican. He's like, so you're too dumb to steal? I was like, man, that was pretty good. That was
It's like,
pretty good.
no.
But I mean, outsourcing your tests,
Rude.
like
Clinical trials, yeah, of all things, like pharmaceutical companies, because they're so shady that they can't do it here anymore
well, and the
because
thing
they
is,
know
they're
they'll
just
get
going to
caught
tell these
and talked
countries
about on
like,
Twitter.
here's the standard, quote unquote. Just make sure it's within the realm, and then the FDA is going to be like, yeah, we got a lot of money from these guys. It's good. And then it's going to be like the next epidemic, like the opioids, and it's going to be like, oh, it's non-habit forming, but it's going to make you explode.
Yeah, I mean, but it's only a
Yeah.
temporary explosion. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you won't even feel it. It's very minimal.
Yeah, your family won't
It's
even
really
have to
fast.
clean you up.
But all right, man. Hey,
Just poop.
yeah, it just evaporates into nothingness.
Yeah.
But all right, we're gonna take one more quick break, then we'll come back, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about cars, and then I have a special where we had a guest in via Skype. So we will be right back, y'all. All right, welcome back to the Pull It Back podcast. Now, since the name of this episode is From Cars to Mars, of course, we're talking cars. So the first story that I came across was this big Ford investing $500 million into this EV truck startup called Rivian. So they're making all-electric SUVs and trucks, which are like off-road ready, which was, I guess, a first. And their tech is pretty high tech. So GM was trying to do the same thing. They were trying to invest in this Rivian thing, but they wanted exclusivity rights. And so the deal fell through, and Ford swooped in and was like, well, we'll invest. And so Ford and Amazon are both investing into this company, Rivian. So Ford basically wants to take that tech and make an all-electric F-150 and possibly Ford Ranger down the road.
Well, I just picked up something. This was 3 May, so this was Friday. it says that GM is joining Ford and Tesla. So this may be a joint venture, man, between all three companies.
No, I don't think. I mean, I think they're saying that in a way like GM's joining Ford and Tesla in making electric vehicles. I don't think they're literally joining. I just think they're following the same
General Motors,
path.
the nation's largest automaker, is joining Ford and Tesla. Is joining Ford, Tesla, and startup Rivian and adding an all-electric pickup.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you're right. I don't know. But I did see where Ford invested $500 million into Rivian, which is really cool.
They're going to be using their tech in new SUVs and F-150s and all that stuff. So they even said the new vehicle won't affect the two EVs Ford has been developing, an electric F-150 and Mustang-inspired crossover.
Can we talk about how big of a piece of shit this thing looks like?
I absolutely hate it too.
I hate it. I hope they don't do it. If they fuck up the Mustang again like they did in the 70s with the bullshit Mustang 2, I'm going to bomb it.
Okay, so I wrote a story on that too. So in 1967, the Mustang was first introduced as the pony car, and it was, it had a big V8. It had, it became an icon instantly, and of course, other manufacturers, it
was 65.
And other manufacturers tried to copy it. The Camaro, the Dodge Charger, Challenger, all kinds of stuff. So they even came out with more powerful ones like the Shelby Mustang, the Boss 302, and then of course the Bullitt Mustang, which is where it got really popular. And then historically, Mustangs were known because they were a sports car for the masses. They always had two doors. They had a big, powerful V8, and that was until the oil crisis hit America in 1973. So the American...
Well, they also came with the straight six for the more economically minded people who couldn't afford
cruise around,
the 289. But because they still make them today, but they made them for, like you said, it was the people's pony car. They wanted the looks. They wanted something that was different from everybody else, but you could take it to a family picnic and it be economical.
Yeah, so what happened in 1974 was that they launched they were going to announce that they were going to drop the Mustang with a 4-cylinder, which was be more economic. So what they did, because all these gas-guzzling muscle cars weren't selling anymore because the price of oil was too high, price of gas was too high, and so they had to adjust to the trends.
Right.
Well, because they wanted to keep selling it, man. They wanted to keep selling the Mustang, so they did whatever they had to do, and they made the Mustang 2, which had the option for the 4-cylinder, of course. But, of course, this was a travesty amongst car enthusiasts, and to this day still casts a dark shadow over the Mustang's lineage.
It is one of the ugliest vehicles Ford has ever made, and like you said, it is a mar on the Mustang name. It's like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, I understand that there was hard times economically, but instead of making this bullshit Mustang, why didn't you just make a different car altogether? Instead of trying to market it and ride the coattails of the success of the Mustang, and turn it into like this Frankenstein's monster of what used to be.
Yeah.
And, in the last 10 years, and even 15 years, Ford has done some pretty incredible things with their design of their vehicles. The build quality has gone up tenfold. After they dropped Mercury and all that stuff, they didn't accept government bailout money. That's one of the reasons I'm so pro Ford, and you are too. But it's like they're trying to take a back step now, and like whoever's taking the helm on the design, and they're like, guess what? We're going to do an electric Mustang. Cool, keep the same body lines. I would dig that. However, if you're going to make a Mustang SUV, please jump out of the highest window you can climb, because it looks like shit. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to compete with the Tesla Model X, or the SUV. Which one's the SUV?
The X,
is it the X? Yeah. They're trying to compete with that. And it's like they designed the Mustang. The first part of it looks Mustang, and then the rest of it looks like somebody let their child scribble on a piece of paper. And they're like, you know what? That's vaguely an SUV body. Let's go with that. And so that's what they went with.
Well,
it's like they let Mazda fucking design it, and it's
speaking
shit.
of that, I mean, all right, well, I'll get to it here in a second. What I was going to say is to stand up for the Mustang 2. This became the Mustang 2 became the 9th best-selling Mustang of all time. People liked it. I mean, it sold. It was practical for the times. It had 3 doors had 3-door option for a hatchback. So Ford basically kept the Mustang alive to fight another day by doing that. And I mean, I know it doesn't make sense now. We're just like, oh, that thing is ugly. It was a 4-cylinder. It was a travesty. It was disgusting. It was a blemish in Ford's history. But at the time, it made sense, and people still bought it. So,
yeah, well, they're stupid.
Well, flash forward to today, Ford is selling SUVs like hotcakes, and they're killing off all their cars. So maybe in order to keep the icon alive, they need to adjust to the market.
I get that, and that's a very good point, and I would agree with you. But they already have stellar SUVs. Why not stick an electric motor in a good SUV like the Escape?
Well,
the Escape it's a great body, it has good lines, and it doesn't interfere with something so iconic. Once again,
well, they dropped the EcoSport, which is just terrible. They've been selling it in Europe and I think India and South America, I want to say, for a while, and they just dropped it over here, and it's just awful. It's like it's supposed to be this brand new car, but as far as competitors go, the competitors are way better, better equipped. I mean, the EcoSport is just, it's awful. It's really bad. So if they could have just gotten rid of the EcoSport and made a smaller, more all-electric SUV, or even started it as an all-electric lineup, that would have been awesome. But I mean, yeah, doing the Mustang and because all these car manufacturers are doing this shit now, to where they are making, they bringing back their iconic cars and turning them into crossover SUVs, like the Mitsubishi Eclipse. You've seen that? The Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross? They took the Mitsubishi Eclipse, brought it back,
disgusting.
and turned it into an SUV. And I think it's probably
it's disgusting.
It's like, Ford, you have SUVs in the past that were good that you can make. If you made like the Explorer E or the like you were saying, the Escape E, or if you even redid the EcoSport as an all-electric.
Bring back the Bronco.
Yeah, as you can do.
They're bringing back the Bronco. Why can't you have an electric? It's going to be a completely different design, of course. Let's not fool ourselves. It's not going to look like the iconic Bronco. I mean, we've showed some renderings that we would like to see. But that's a perfect opportunity to bring out an electric vehicle, like an all-electric Bronco. I mean, that's a novel idea. Like giving the Mustang an extra 2 doors, muddying the waters on the lines, and sticking a grille that looks vaguely like a Mustang on the front, and calling it the Mustang Electric is asinine to me. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I get the trend, where the trend is going. Clearly, we need better vehicles and a renewable energy source like electricity. That's the way of the future.
Yeah.
The way of the future, the way of the future. But it doesn't make any sense what Ford is doing by shitting on the Mustang. Like, they have a perfect opportunity. They have that smaller SUV that they were talking about bringing out and the new Bronco. Mm-hmm. Why in the hell can't one of those be an all-electric version?
Exactly. Like I said, if they just did the EcoSport as an all-electric SUV and that's it, like the only option was to have it in electric, that'd be fine, because, I mean, it's a hunk of shit anyway. So spice it up a little bit with making it all-electric, and then probably bring in more buyers.
Yeah.
Because it's a small electric SUV. Because you don't want to, at the moment, you don't want a huge SUV to be electric because it would get no mileage. But I mean, they're trying to take a page out of Tesla's book, and like you were saying, they're trying to compete with the Model X. But Tesla, on the other hand, is making a pickup truck to compete in the U.S. So do you think that we are ready for that? A Tesla pickup truck? I mean, I know we were just talking about Rivian, but Tesla's going to try to do it.
See, the market in the U.S. demands a pickup truck.
Yeah.
They're great for utility. People all over the country buy. I mean, the F-150 is, what is it? It's the best-selling vehicle in the world?
Yes. The F-150 is the
or
best-selling.
At least in the
no, it's the best-selling vehicle in the world, I believe. Fastest selling.
I don't know if it still is, but it's definitely, it's the fastest selling. Yeah, there's one sold every minute or something like
Every
that. It's
30
insane.
seconds.
But irregardless, it begs the question: do we need an electric pickup segment? I think we do, and if
It'd be neat.
Ford did it right and Tesla did it right, they would make a perfect, like a really good hybrid powertrain system. Where along the road, the hybrid, highway driving, the hybrid kicks in and you cruise in electric mode. And when you need some serious low-end torque, the EcoBoost 6-cylinder kicks in. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking engineer.
Well, I think GM, I believe, already did a hybrid Silverado or GMC or something. I know they did the hybrid.
Yeah, GM does it.
The hybrid.
GM does it in their
SUV.
SUVs.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
If
they sell pretty well, but
it was the problem was that it was way more expensive, and you didn't really get that much better gas mileage. But it was like $10,000 more for the hybrid. And I know Ford did it too in the Escape. I think in 2000, what was it, 2008? I think it was 2008 through 2011 or something is when they had the hybrid Escapes. But I mean, it just didn't sell because, like I said, it was a huge premium for barely that much more mileage. It's like you're paying. I mean, now cars are premium. A lot of people are splurging and getting the premium vehicles. So, you don't need to make a bargain basement one, but you'd like to make it affordable to where everyone can get either a hybrid or an all-electric one. But the problem with electric pickup trucks, at least in my opinion, is that most people that buy pickup trucks don't take them off-roading. They don't take them, to the salt flats. They don't really use them for work, at least the higher-end ones. So if you're making an all-electric one, you need it to be able to charge fast, because if you're having a fleet vehicle, that's the big sales is fleet. So if you're having an all-fleet vehicle or all-electric fleet vehicle like F-150 or something like that, you need it to be able to charge very quick and last a long time, because that's the last thing you want to do is have to sit there and plug it in for an hour to 2 hours for it to fully charge, or you have to go to a special location for it to charge. I think that's the only hurdle they're going to have.
Well, maybe pretty soon they're going to outfit truck stops and the like with maybe a wireless charging pads like they have for phones. I think that'd be a pretty cool idea. You just pull onto the pad, charge it for a half hour, and you're back on the road.
Yeah. But who wants to stop at a truck stop for half an hour? Because, I mean, trucks, at least for me, I know truck taking long drives and stuff, across the state lines or something, being in the truck is way more comfortable, but it's more expensive on gas. But if it was all electric and you wanted to get somewhere where you're going, but the range was only 300 miles, and then it took you, if you didn't have one of those super fast charging stations and you had to plug it in at a hotel or something, dude, that would take forever to charge. You'd have to call it a night after a couple hundred miles. I think that's the only big hurdle right now, is that people that buy these electric pickup trucks are going to have to be, locally. They're going to have to stay local, and that's it, because, you go outside of a big city, you ain't going to find a charging station.
Yeah, see, I mean, well, that's my problem with electric vehicles is the range. They're cool and they help the environment and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, they're just not practical right now. They're not. I don't care what your argument is. They're not fucking practical.
No.
If you want to go on any length of trip outside of your city, the local area, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you're going from Austin to Dallas, you might be able to make it, but you'd have to basically go from here straight to an electric charge station. If you had one of the Teslas with the extended range.
Right. And most people aren't going to, you could avoid it. You could buy a plane ticket. Mm-hmm. But who the fuck's going to shell out $300 or $400 for a plane ticket from Austin to Dallas?
Yeah, exactly.
So they need to work on the hybrid powertrain systems, because the all-electric, like I said, it's a great idea, but until they get the range up to over 1,000 miles, or at least 500 to 600 miles, and you can recharge it within a matter of, how long does it take you to fuel up? 10 minutes?
Yeah, at most.
So if they can get it to 15 to 20 minutes where you're sitting there charging, and you get the range of at least 400 to 500 miles out of 15 to 20 minutes of charging, then that would be absolutely spectacular. But until then,
Yeah, absolutely.
hybrid powertrains are what they need to focus on, man.
And what
pure,
the cool thing
pure
about
and
that
simple.
is the hybrid powertrain thing. Ram has already done that with their newest engine. They have the e-torque system, which is essentially an electric drive motor that basically gives the truck more torque off the line, and so you can tow more and whatnot, and basically use just that electric motor in like slow situations or like off the line and whatnot. So I think that's really cool, man. The new Rams are just really impressive.
Oh no,
Like
I
said, they
agree
have
totally.
They still have the Hemi V8. They still have the engine shutoff system. They have the e-torque system, which is now, of course, electric drivetrain. The interior is just I mean, they've really set the bar high.
So much better.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
really
I
set
mean,
the bar
the
high for the rest of
interiors-
the guys.
Yeah, the interiors in the new Rams are probably the best I've seen. Like, the Ford has some nice interiors, don't get me wrong, but the way that Fiat did with the new Rams, it's just incredible. It's just a nice place to be.
Yeah.
It's like almost luxury. But I mean, let's talk about how ugly most of these EV vehicles are.
Yeah.
The Teslas look cool. The Teslas look pretty cool. That's like the first vehicles we've seen that actually have any kind of design to them. Like
Yeah.
most of them, like one-wheeled, like the back wheels are covered up for some reason. I don't know why.
The Prius.
Like, yeah,
Or
the
at
ones
least the
that
original Prius.
Yeah. The car that really stood out to me that I've been looking at is the Pininfarina Battista.
Oh, God.
This thing, now, if you want a new poster car, like in the 80s it was the Countach, in the 90s it was the Murcielago, in the 2000s it's the Aventador or the Ferrari 458, something like that.
Yeah.
This is the new bedroom poster car. I feel like it's gorgeous. The thing's lines are so aggressive. It just looks like it's hauling ass when it's just sitting there. And, it's going to have, like, some ridiculous amount of like thousands of horsepower, and it's all electric.
Well, send me a picture of it. We'll post it on the podcast Instagram, so people
Okay,
listening know what it looks like. But yeah, man, it's a super sexy car.
And, of course, it's made by the legendary Pininfarina,
Yes.
the ones that, designs all the Ferraris, or used to. They did it. They knocked it out of the park, man. It's the way of the future.
Well, I got way of the future. I got one that's even better as far as electric goes. This is going to blow your mind. So Ford, I know we talked about on a couple episodes ago that we were talking about the Ford mattress. It used the lane keeping technology to basically keep you centered on the mattress, so that way you're not going to roll off the end or you're not too far on one side.
Yeah.
Well, they're at it again. Ford is making a self-braking shopping cart.
Ooh.
That's right. So basically,
And
they're using their semi-autonomous driving technology to basically, if it knows it's about to hit something, it automatically stops it. It uses its pre-collision assist technology to avoid accidents at the supermarket. So basically, if it's coming towards a car and is about to dent it, it'll stop. Or if it's going to hit somebody, it'll stop before it gets there.
I've been saying for years how I would like to see carts with automatic braking, and it's a good time to be alive,
Yep. Thanks to Ford.
Leave it to Ford to give us something that nobody asked for.
The self-braking shopping cart. Yeah, like
Thanks,
I said, a
Ford.
self-braking shopping cart, and then, of course, the lane-keeping mattress.
I sent you that picture of the Batista, man. Oh, my God.
Okay. I'll like I said, I'll post this on our Instagram so you guys know what we're talking about as far as this car goes. It looks a lot like Ferrari and McLaren had a love child.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been dying to do this. So you had a game that you wanted to play. What was it?
Oh, my
You got me
goodness.
so hyped out about it.
Oh, listen here, boy. It's new dictionary words that were added in 2019. So, I got 5 fake and 5 real words that were
Okay.
added to the Webster's dictionary this year. So I'm going to give you a couple. Let's see if you can guess which ones are fake and which ones are real. All right, you ready?
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay. So the first word, broheim. Is that real or fake?
That's got to be fake.
It is fake.
Yeah, I was about to say, it says broheim. That's something that you would make up. I know that is.
Okay, that was the easy one. All right. So next one, bougie.
Bougie?
Bougie. Like that
Bougie.
bitch bougie with her gold ass ring. You know what I mean? Bougie.
That's fake.
That is
You can
real.
add that to Webster's dictionary.
That is
What?
real. Yes.
Bougie. What's the definition of it?
Somebody who is pretentious, basically.
Oh, God.
Okay, next one.
Quit being so bougie.
Bitch, you being bougie. Next one is swole.
Swole. That's got to be real, right?
That is real. Yes, it was added to Webster's dictionary,
Sweet.
making it its
Sweet, getting
definition.
swole, bro.
Yeah, the definition is somebody who is very physically fit.
Nice.
All right, next word.
So now it's a real word. You don't have to feel like
A jackass, yeah.
meathead. Yeah, you're like, I'm not a meathead. That's a real word. Look it up in the dictionary.
It's in the dictionary. I'm expanding my vocabulary. You twat. Quat?
Yeah.
Cunt and twat. Add that to your Webster's dictionary.
That's the next one.
Okay, next
It's
one
like
is
cunt. Past tense of can't.
I cunt
It's like,
be
that's
bothered.
not what I thought it meant.
So the next one is ginormous.
That's fake.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Damn it, you're pretty good at this.
There's no way.
This is bullshit. All right, the next
There's
one.
no way.
Next one is marg.
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 That's marg. That sounds fake.
It is real. It's short for margarita.
You're shit.
I swear.
They made a shorter word for margarita.
Yes.
So they're just like, yeah, can I get a marg with some salt on the side?
Yeah, that's what we say. Marg night.
Dude, okay. Anybody that's listening to this, if you order a margarita by saying, can I get a marg, you need to be beaten to within an inch of your life.
Well, I guess I need to be beaten because I'm like, let me get one of those margs. Man, we have marg night over at Mom's house all the time.
Oh, my God.
Hook it up with a marg.
Oh, my God.
Get with the
You
times.
said that was real? That was a real thing?
That is a real word. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
Okay. So next one is, listen to this one. Cannabusiness.
Cannabis. That's fake. That's got to be fake, right?
You'd be wrong. That is a real one. It refers to the cannabis business.
The cannabis business.
Yes. Okay.
Really? So then they have to. So if they're going to put the product in front of the actual name of the business, so are they going to start doing that with everything?
I'd fuck if I know. Like synergy.
If you're like, well, we make bricks, so we're going to be called brick a business.
Bric-a-brac. No, I don't know. All right, I got a
I was
bonus
like,
word.
we solely make shoes, so we're going to have
Shoesness.
shoe a business or soul a business.
Shoesness.
That is ridiculous.
All right, I got a bonus for you, man.
Ridiculous business.
Okay. It's one of the words that you love to use just to piss people off. It's your bonus word.
Uh-huh.
Irregardless.
Oh, I hope to God that's real. Is it real?
It is real.
Yes!
Now listen to this.
That's what I'm talking about.
You are going to love explaining this to everybody when you say irregardless. Like, because we always used to make...
It's in the dictionary. Look it up.
Well, we always used to make fun of my stepdad. But Merriam-Webster says the most frequently repeated remark about irregardless is that there is no such word. There is such a word, however. It has been used mistakenly in place of regardless since the early 1900s and has now been admitted into dictionaries. So even though it is a word, irregardless is still far from being widely accepted. And judging by the scorn it receives online, it won't be widely accepted anytime soon. Merriam-Webster's advice: use regardless instead. So now you can shit all over people who say regardless like a bunch of peasants.
I know, so like, irregardless of the fact. And then people are like, irregardless isn't a word. Like, yes, it is. Look it up in the
Look
dictionary.
it up, you son of a bitch. You're being bougie.
Oh, yes. Yeah, quit being bougie. Go look up irregardless.
So fuck.
Marg. Get me a marg.
Dude, I saw this shit and I was like, bougie and swole are in the goddamn dictionary now. It's like, good God, what is the world coming to?
Good luck. Quit being bougie and go look up irregardless in the dictionary. I'm gonna go get swole and drink a marg. And that's a legit
That is
sentence.
a legitimate sentence now in 2019. So times are changing.
Websters. I like how the dictionary is actually starting to get a sense of humor.
Oh my God, there's. I tried to find truffle butter, but that wasn't a real one. I don't think.
God, that would have been a great one. Truffle butter.
That is real.
Or a buffa monkey.
A buffa monkey.
A buffa monkey. Yeah, it's a buffalo and a monkey.
Man, bear, pig.
It's a buffa monkey. It looks like a buffalo, except its front hooves are hands, and the face looks like a monkey or a chimpanzee.
But it's got a weird ridge back like a buffalo, and it has horns.
Yeah, it's a buffa monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and its tail like isn't just like a little thing with a little puff at the end of it. It's an actual.
It's
monkey
like an
tail.
actual prehensile tail. It like, picks up its grass and eats it.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a buffa monkey. All right, hashtag buffa monkey.
That'll be trending.
So the final story of the night is prison reform. I actually spoke with somebody about this, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, but I wanted to get your take on it as far as prison reform goes, because I fell across an article, and I brought this up with our guest, too, that Norway made a humane prison. So basically what they did was they focused more on, I guess they focused more on like rehabilitation than actually just keeping people out of society. Yeah. So, they force these guys to get jobs. They actually work real jobs, and they get paid, and they're forced to actually be part of a community. They're forced to, so basically they're really rehabilitating people. Like, this is how you're going to have to act in society in order to, do your thing.
As somebody who's seen it firsthand, of course I wasn't on the other side of it, so this is only my perspective, having worked in the prison as a guard.
Yeah, as a prison guard.
So,
yeah.
That's absolutely where it needs to go. First of all, we need to get rid of privatized prisons, because that's a huge problem for lobbyists and giving people longer prison sentences and basically perpetuating racist sentences based on black males get longer sentences, blah blah blah. It's a fact. Just look it up.
Yeah.
But having worked in there, I saw some real travesties. Some of the best artists I've ever seen were in prisons. Like, and if they were nurtured and given a chance to actually nurture their skill instead of being, maybe they were raised in a shitty environment. Where was these people's help and counseling and guidance? But that's what America's prison system is about, keeping them out of the society's light instead of actually rehabilitating them.
Yeah, instead of trying to help them and put them back out there as helpful pieces of society, they're actually just like, we want to keep you in here and just like keep you out of the light of society. We don't want you around.
And all that does is institutionalize somebody, and all they ever know is prison. So as soon as they get out, they're going to go right back in 9 times out of 10, because they don't know anything better. They're not used to being a part of society, and it's such a fallacy. It's ridiculous. And like I said, if the U.S. is trying to do something, they can go get their GED, they can work odd jobs. At the prison I was working in at Texas, they had vocational schools. But I mean, what the fuck good is a vocational school if you're going to be in there for 20 years? You aren't going to do shit, and nobody's going to hire you. You know, if they focused on actual rehabilitation,
you got a record.
If they focused on actual rehabilitation and helping these people out. Now, let's put a caveat to that. If you're a mindless, murdering piece of shit, you deserve to rot in prison and go to hell. If you did some minor bullshit crime, like when you were 18 years old and you robbed a convenience store because you thought you were going to make a quick buck, what good is it going to do to keep you in prison for 20 fucking years? You know, you're creating somebody who is even a bigger piece of shit because all they know is prison since they were a child, essentially. Why not nurture this person and say, look, here's the error of your ways. Here's what you can really do with your life outside of this. You made a mistake. Yes.
Yeah.
You need to serve some sort of punishment. However, during this time of punishment, you need to reflect on how to be a better person. So,
well, and another big part of that, I mean, one of the biggest problems with privatized prisons, especially, is the vacancy quotas that they have.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So this is real. They have real vacancy quotas. So they have, you know, if they don't have a certain amount of people in the prison at a certain time, I think the state pays taxes or the state pays the prison or something like that. So the state doesn't want to pay the prison. So then they just give some prisoners longer sentences or they write them up on arbitrary reasons to keep them in there. So that way they make sure that they keep their quota, which is like, I think it's ridiculously high. It's like 95 or 96%.
And that is
vacancy.
absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's just unreal that they have to keep that many people in prison just so they don't have to pay extra money to the tax. If they weren't privatized, they wouldn't have to worry about shit like that. But they don't want to spend the money on prisons because they're just prisoners, and so they just send them off and they're just killers and rapists and keep them in there. It's like, yeah, but not everyone.
No, exactly, not everyone. It's like I was telling you a while back. You know, a lot of these kids just fucked up. They did something stupid. You know, maybe they sold some drugs or something. They got caught with pot. Literally,
they sold marijuana and they got a 10-year minimum sentence.
Literally, one of these kids I was talking to, he got popped for paraphernalia. And he had marijuana in a school zone. And they were like, guess what? You're going to prison for 15 years or 10 years or however long it was. He was 18 years old and in prison for that long. It's like, you know, you're going to send a child. You're going to send a child into this possibly the worst environment you can ever imagine. You're going to send him there for 10 years of his life, some of the most informative years of his fucking life, and you're going to shell him up in this cage and treat him like he's a common criminal, somebody who's in the same spot that people have murdered and raped and pillaged and done horrible things to society. Yeah, we're going to stick him in there with the same people. He's the same ilk as the rest of these guys. So
yeah, he's a criminal and that's it. If you're a criminal, you have a record, and it doesn't matter what you did. You're stigmatized for the rest of your life. And also, you can't vote. You can never own a firearm. You basically have a lot of your rights taken away because you made one mistake. Forever. It will follow you the rest of your life.
You were a child. Your brain isn't even fully developed yet. So you're irrational. You do stupid things. I get it. You and I have done stupid things. Stuff that, you know, wouldn't send us to prison, granted. But it begs the question, you know, if these people didn't have good parenting and they did this stuff because they weren't supervised, why wouldn't you give them counseling and guidance as if you were a parent? Exactly. It blows my mind that they're just like, shove them in this hole and let's see what happens. Of course, you're going to breed somebody who's, one, they're probably going to join a gang because they can't protect themselves, and now they're committed to this gang for the rest of their lives, and they're going to do even shittier things.
Yeah. Well, then also you have to think there was when I was talking to Emmerich, and he did 10 years in prison for, I believe it was armed robbery. And, you know, he's extremely articulate. You know, he definitely came out of it a better person. But, you know, he was saying that that kind of atmosphere just fucking ruins people. I mean, especially if you're only 18 doing it. It's dog eat dog. It's like you got to be high alert all the time. I mean, like something could go down at any moment, and you can't you can't be punked by somebody, or you're fucked the rest of the time you're in there. And it's just a terrible situation to put.
It's a
kid
fucking
in.
zoo. It's an animal cage in there, man. It's like the plains of Africa.
Yeah.
Like if you fuck up, you're gonna get killed. You're gonna die. And I've seen that shit happen. Like seen pictures, dudes getting stabbed. I've been in major uses of force where I had to hold somebody down because, the inmate didn't want to get punked by a boss, so we had to take him down.
Yeah.
I had to go in. I was on a quick response team. I had to go in on people who had barricaded themselves in, use pepper spray, riot shields, hold them down, take them out. It was, dude, it was intense. And these guys live in this anxiety-filled environment for 20 years of their lives during their informative years. You're making monsters. You are literally making monsters.
And I mean, like I said, some people come out the other end better.
It's a very rare few. Very rare.
I mean, a lot of the people
it's a
don't.
very rare few.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't. A lot of people they become institutionalized forever. And it's because we don't put enough effort and time into actually rehabilitating these people to become valuable members of society. We just send them to prison and forget about it, and that's it. And we exploit them. Well, we exploit them as essentially slave labor. There's a lot of labor camps and stuff that we send them to, picking up trash, new community service, which is great. But the only thing is that they don't get paid shit for it. They get paid like 50 cents an hour.
Well, when I was working there, it's
there. Ridiculous.
They would take him out. It was the same prison that Clyde Barrow escaped from, of the famous Bonnie and Clyde. I was working at Ferguson Prison in Huntsville, Texas, and they would take them out on the chain gang, and they would work the fields and tend to the pigs and blah, 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 and they were getting 25 cents an hour, if that. And I'm like, how can you justify this kind of slave labor? And I used to have a real different opinion before, because I was working there. It's like, man, these pieces of shit deserve every bit of this. But when I start to actually talk to these guys, and, who knows if they were lying or not, I err on the side of caution, of course. But, the ones that had legitimate stories like, I got busted for drugs, man, it's just stupid. I'm sitting here like, God bless, you were in the roughest prison you could think of, and you're getting 15 years in this environment, and no one's here to save you. No one's here to help you. Nothing. And everybody,
you just have to do what you're told.
And people on the outside of it, they have no fucking clue what goes on. They just think, oh, well, they're not in there for singing too loud in the choir. It's like, yeah, you got a point, but also they're human beings too. And here's
like they got put into a situation to where they weren't handed shit like a lot of people say
even
that
beyond
are.
That.
They're just like, they're just prisoners.
Even
just
beyond
send them
that,
away.
What was the point I was trying to make? It's really easy to say that prisoners, deserve what they get. And in some sense, yes, some of them do. But in another sense, they deserve a shot, because it's really easy to say that you're a piece of shit and you deserve to go to jail. It's a totally, completely different thing to say, well, what if we help these people become contributing pieces of members of society? And like I said, man, I had a real difference of opinion when I was a prison guard. But after talking to people and understanding the nuance of not every situation's the same, it became a completely different story. And, man, I would love to see some change in the prison system and actually helping prisoners rehabilitate, because prison is not a rehab. It absolutely is not a rehab. And, if
exactly,
a lot of people will use the excuse of, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's a pretty simplistic view on it. But
Yeah, but you don't understand that a lot of these kids went through some
Right.
very complex situation, and put in a bad situation. Like if you don't sell these drugs, you're going to get killed, or I'm going to kill your family, or something like that. And then they just got caught, and they couldn't. You don't know the full situation, so you got to
They
treat them
prove
like
otherwise.
human beings until they prove otherwise. Exactly, because and we'll get to that here in a second. I'm going to play the clip, but I had a recording with, like I said, Emerich, and we talk about other things beyond prison because he's a very opinionated person. So I do want to have him on the podcast, like a full blown episode one of these days. But you'll hear from him. He has a lot of the same opinions as you. And some of the stories that he's told me in the past is just very eye opening. To where they can't, they're watched constantly. They're fed basically nothing.
nothing of substance.
A lot of people are like,
And
"Oh,
that's
they get
bullshit.
fed better than kids in school." But like, no,
That's bullshit.
Not a lot of the time they don't.
Yes.
No, they don't. He told me they had like this loaf. He said at one point they had like this
Yeah.
loaf.
So
that was
basically,
just like,
what that
it was like
is
a calorie
is-
loaf or some
yeah,
shit. I
yeah,
forgot
it's
what they called
it's
it.
called
but-
the high caloric loaf or whatever, and they just take a bunch of scraps and they bake it into like
Yeah.
this disgusting, fruit cake burned thing. I tried
and they
it,
compress it into this,
and it was
like,
absolutely terrible. And that's what they give prisoners when there's not enough food to go around, or if you've acted
Yeah.
poorly, that's what you get. You don't get a meal.
Yeah.
You get that, and it's disgusting. And like,
Yeah.
one of their
Yeah.
meals, it was like, we lived on a pig farm, so we got a lot of pork, and there was a lot of Muslims in there too, so they didn't eat a whole lot. But
Yeah. They were just like, we can't eat it regardless. And of course they didn't play to their religion. They were just like, we don't care. You're a prisoner. Oh, you don't have any rights. But, so that whole
It's crazy,
stigmatism
man.
is just absolutely ridiculous. So, me and Emmerich had a long conversation. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that clip, and we will, we'll close it out here as soon as the clip over. Like I said, it's a pretty long clip, but it's a lot of good insights. So here you go. Here's Emmerich via Skype. I have Emmerich here with me. He is a good friend of mine, and we also used to talk about a lot of stuff back in the day when we worked together. So I wanted to talk to him about some of the problems, like with prisons and the inhumane way of treating prisoners. Because I accidentally stumbled across an article about Norway and how they made this humane prison and stuff like that, and and I wanted to talk to you about some of your experiences. Would you consider it a humane way to keep people?
Well, I mean, humane in the sense of the definition that we know it to be, absolutely not. I mean, because, we've come to see that this whole industry has been like monetized in various degrees. So whenever it's a profit to be made, pretty much things is gonna go right. And not to mention that, I mean, because say for instance, I experienced that from 1996 up until 2006. So I was on a youth camp as well as adult camps. And it was just a real traumatic situation to where it took many years, even after I was released, for me to really kind of get that energy out of my skin. In some ways, it probably will never leave. What I mean? Because but I will say that I just believe that if you think that rehabilitation is going to happen by way of the programs and the things that they do, you're mistaken. I'm saying the only way you do it for yourself, because these people are making money off this stuff. So so of course they don't want to well, I believe they don't want to do it to the utmost, you know what I mean? Because if that were the case, majority, let's say North Carolina, right?
Hmm.
They have over 100 counties, and I believe there is a prison in every county besides maybe two or three. So, and these are small rural communities where various industries no longer reside there.
Yeah.
So this put foods on people's table. You know what I mean? So of
Yeah.
course they don't want to rehabilitate. You know what I mean? People, they want a recidivism.
Yeah,
I
because I mean,
believe.
we had this conversation before too, where they had, most prisons are privately owned, and most prisons are for profit, and a lot of them have the attendance quotas for. They have to have a certain amount of people in the prison for them to get money from the state.
Well, North Carolina, for example, is not. It was only like a few that were privately owned by the corporation. What's it called? CCA.
Yeah,
And what I noticed when I went to one of theirs, see, at the time I went there, they were on the cusp of the state taking it over because certain things weren't met that they had. When I went there, oh my God, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was like the fucking patients or whatever, because they had like, if you go to like say a regular, say this place was it was a you have three different custody levels. Okay. On the high end, say if you got sentenced, when you go to a what is it called, when you go to a like a camp, a transition camp, we'll use that word or whatever, because I can't remember the word. It's called process, a process camp. Okay, so you're not on gain time. Gain time is what? Okay, North Carolina has what you call an 85% loss. So that means you must do 85% of your sentence. They give you two sentences. They give you a minimum and a maximum. So when you go to prison, you are in the maximum phase because so at the time, my September the 5th, 1996 is when I went.
Mhm.
My release date at the time was like sometime in 2012.
yeah,
Yeah, so once I got a job or went to school, it was I was getting time to work it down to 2006, which would have factored like 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so okay, so levels. That's that camp right there. Mainly is people with a lot of time, and all of them is close custody. Me, a armed patrol that cruises around the perimeter of the camp, and it's like Constantine wire in the middle, barbed wire on the inside and the outside, with a gun tower as well. Okay, what in those type of places, it's pretty much like dog eat dog. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like
it's kind of gotta be in a way.
yeah. It's like if you that I never like a frail, weak individual, but seeing people get preyed on kind of brung the like assertive me to the forefront even more, because I don't want to be like that. I don't want you to me or violate me. So of course I'm a be proactive on situations to where I've come to learn out here in society. We know that life for pretty much everybody is confrontation on some level.
Yeah.
But I just kind of got it embedded in me to, if at the slightest hint of confrontation, I'm gonna address it. It's no type of passive aggressiveness, because I've seen that turn into, it's like a slippery slope where if you let something go before you know it, you know what I mean? Like, here's another instance, you know what I'm saying? To where, you know what I mean? So now you got to handle it immediately. Yeah.
Well, I think society as a whole, especially nowadays, I think some of these kids could probably use some of that, because I mean,
Yeah.
some of them don't even, they're so passive aggressive. I think we talked about this on a previous episode. We were talking about how like they're making up new words for the same meaning. Like when they say microaggressions, it's like microaggressions is almost the exact same thing as being passive aggressive. We already had that, and it's like now you're just trying to make it your own thing. But it's just ridiculous how some people try to maneuver their way around a problem instead of addressing it, like you said.
Mm-hmm. But like I'm gonna tell you, right? It just seems like a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It just seems like a lot of divisive type of situations. Like like you can look out in your everyday and see this so many diversions and dividings of things. Like now, this is nothing new. This has always been a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like with the to where it's like the younger against the older.
Yeah, for sure.
Younger, older people would look at us and think, he a thug, he ain't gonna be nothing. You know what I mean? So, and now the older people are like, they don't have no respect, but they never fact the fact that right now the younger people are dealing with way more like an influx of like information than ever before, and so that's kind of hard to deal with, even though it's not on a physical level all the time, but having to disseminate so much. So much information is like disseminated, and you have filtered through that and adapt and react. That's not easy. You know what I'm saying? So I can really have empathy for like the younger generation now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also have like, that being said, I mean, you have to think that you're right. There's all kinds of information, endless amounts of information on the internet, and that's where most people get their information from instead of their elders, like which, and before we had the internet, we got most of our information from our elders. And so like they taught us how to work around in society and stuff. And now it's just like, what works in Illinois in a small suburb or whatever doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate the same in like a small city in Southern California.
Yeah.
But that's where they're getting their information from. They're like, yeah, this certain plant that grows in the backyard that looks like this in Illinois is beneficial, but that same looking plant in California would be, toxic. It's just an example, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Because I can see the pros and cons with that. When you speak about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, those are three vastly different components. You know what I mean? But some people might confuse them. And like when we go to the elders or look to the elders for knowledge, they can only give us the knowledge that they acquired from the people in the era before them. And so a lot of it was misinformation, you know what I mean? And it just pretty much was passed down like an heirloom, you know what I mean? So in a way, when we speak about tradition, if we come to find that tradition was not as astute in those components that I just mentioned, like knowledge, wisdom, understanding, you have to make concessions to, upgrade. But it's a lapse in like communication, because sometimes it's hard to impart those things without coming across condescending. It's very hard. And people got, especially men, we got pride, so you don't want to. Somebody could tell you something and they had your best. I know a guy who he was always fond of saying that the only time a man is around fools if he's trying to educate them or he's trying to enslave them. And sometimes, like, let me tell you, for example, what I'm speaking about, like, the little Florida rapper. What's his name? Kodak Black, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Okay. So maybe last year or a little bit longer than that ago, he had linked up with Master P. And Master P was on some like trying to school him to the game of of the artistry and like independent to pretty much try to maximize your earning potential and not be caught up in these bogus ass deals that they be trying to wheel these young dudes in. Because you got dudes like, say you got dudes like that was independent at one point or came to be known off of like YouTube or SoundCloud, like say Lil Yachty or Uzi Vert. Man, these dudes, you know what I'm saying, was doing crazy numbers and making all this money independently, but signed with a major and signed a 360 deal to where they don't even own their name no more. You know what I mean? So and they did to where it's like now it's at the period now where you don't even need a fucking major deal because you can get your product to the consumer without the middleman. That's all I'm saying these labels are is fucking middlemen. So why would I mean, of course your budget will be larger, but end of the day, you can do all this shit in-house. You don't need, you know what I mean? So getting back to the point I was making, when P was trying to, facilitate certain things with this guy, he thought that P was trying to use him. I'm like, you goofy ass dude. Do you realize this man is worth like $500 million? Fuck do he need to use you for? He trying to school you, but at the end of the day, it's still business. So if I link you up with a business opportunity, shouldn't I get a finder's fee?
Exactly.
What are you talking about? Yeah. So you want me to give you all this game for free?
Yeah, and that's how the game is played when they have like, these superstars that come up out of nowhere, and that's one of the first mistakes because most of them are looking for that big break. And so these guys come in, they're like, oh, this guy's going to be a star. They're like, they already know the game. They're like, just sign here and sign here. And they basically sign their life away. And then basically they can have their music put on all these different platforms and played on all these movies, and they don't get any more royalties from it. But the manager or the recording studio would actually have all that money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I forgot who it was that I was reading about. They played it smart and they actually owned all their rights to their music. Yeah. I think, is it Kevin Hart? I think Kevin Hart said he owns all of his material.
It could be, you know what I'm saying? Because, but I didn't know that. But it very well could be though.
Yeah, because I think that's where I heard it from. I might be mistaken, but like I said, I think I heard somewhere to where, he coming up, because he kept all of his business managers and stuff were all of his close friends, and he just started branching off in all these businesses and whatnot, and he was like, yeah, I'm keeping all my stuff. It's not it's not third partied out to somebody else and to where they can get their hands in the pot. It's just him, which that's why he's so damn successful.
Yeah, because it's no rational reason why somebody should not own the intellectual properties of their product. That's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like absolutely. It doesn't make sense. I mean, because like you can look at like say people like what comes to mind now at the moment I'm thinking about this is like probably Jay-Z. I mean, he integrated his business vertical, and that doesn't happen often. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard Nipsey speaking about it, and it was like really that type of dynamic only happened with like Ford, where they own every facet of their situation. You know what I mean? Like and he does as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Nipsey said that was a great inspiration for him to do instead of, he had plenty of opportunities to sign with majors, but he only wanted like a distribution deal. I'm saying, he wanted all the rights to his music and all this, because if you think about it, when the hotness kind of simmer down on you and your product, the only thing you really have is like when people might play a song for a commercial or on a movie soundtrack or a sample, you want the residuals on that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want some fucking you don't want some fucking guy somewhere, you know what I'm saying, like who didn't write your song or didn't, do anything with it, and he's buoying his exorbitant lifestyle off of your brainchild. That's fucking. But that's because people want to go from A to Z. They want to skip over all the letters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, you got to dot your I's and cross your T's. You can't, I mean, yeah, everybody want to enjoy the fruits of their labor, but hey, man, sometimes that patience and diligence, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't just skip over certain things. Cause look, for example, look with Prince. He didn't have no living will. So, he finally got the rights back to his masters, and now his family is in the courts, squabbling over the right to all these monies that's been made from his stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because what the thing is, sometimes when we come across like genius, that genius might not translate. It might only translate into the art form, the artistry. It don't translate into like business. To where they understand certain dynamics of the whole process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of like, I want to say, because I thought I heard something to where it was, I want to say back in the day before the YouTube and before the internet and stuff, a lot of the stars were essentially chosen to be stars. And then now it's like they become their own star because, they put their stuff on YouTube. They become popular. So then there's less risk involved in it. So, but since these kids are on YouTube, they move up really quick without the help of all these people. And then they just go into superstardom and then they fall off really quick just because, that's America's ADD. Got to move on to the next thing,
And yeah, it's a real situation. And I noticed this when I would be on like social media and I would go in the comments on like say like a Jay-Z post. And I would see the hate on there for him. And I come to the understanding that say if Tupac never died and was able to maximize his talent and reap the benefits of it, I guarantee you he would not be as beloved. Guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, that's the same thing with Michael Jackson. I mean, he was beloved prior to, but now there's of course the HBO documentary that's trying to ruin his name and whatnot. But that's after he's dead and he can't defend himself. But I mean, there's also like a bunch of different cases of that where somebody actually dies and then their songs go out like into the stratosphere and they make all this money, but they're not alive to collect it. So then it's just a label maker.
Yeah. Cause me, I think the first time I heard about that documentary, I was still, so we were still working over there together. And Annalisa had asked me, had I seen it? And I said, no, I hadn't seen it. I was like, and I told her that I already felt like from what I read, that it was some bullshit. And then she was like, well, I don't think that. I think you might need to check it out because it might be some validity to what's being said. So when so that made me look at it. It's like what, 2.5 hours or something.
Yeah.
At it, when I looked at it, and then I seen other things about this guy. What's his name, Wade or whatever his name is?
The child star or the actual director?
No, the guy he used to be. How I remembered him, I forgot all about him. How I remembered him was he was in this rap group that came out in like the early 90s. I think I was in the 9th grade or something. And I remember this group. It was like a mixed Asian and black kid and a white kid. And both of them had bald heads. And they was rhyming over like hard, rugged beats.
Yeah.
It was called Cool. And so I remember, you know what I mean? Because I thought like, damn, they're like a baby Onyx or some shit. Onyx was this group from like Queens back in the day. And they had a big hit called Slam back 92, 93. And all of them had bald heads, they had rough, rugged ass beats. And so being a hip hop fan as I was, Quo dropped that one thing. I didn't even know they were signed to Michael Jackson's MMJJ label. I didn't know that until recently. And so, come to find out, this was the guy who was saying that Mike did things to him, but what they conveniently left out that old boy fucking full blown relationship with Michael Jackson's niece for like 8 years. They conveniently left that out. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then and the reason that him and Michael Jackson's niece had broke up was because he had an affair with Britney Spears because this dude was like a choreographer or whatever. So I guess he was her choreographer. Mm-hmm. So, true to forms, she always seemed to have a thing for her dancers because that's how she got with Kevin Federline or whatever. But she was dealing with this dude. She was cheating on MJ niece with this dude. And that's what broke their relationship up.
Yeah. So
they left all that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I have been under the belief that we live in a time to now. It doesn't matter how sterling you live your life. Your name and your reputation can be besmirched.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And even a lot of times, even people that know you very well will not come to the plate and defend you, and especially if you done died or whatever. People believe whatever that's put out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just the culture it is, man. Like, mm-hmm. Like, I mean, well, and a lot of the things is like it's like incriminating evidence that has been hidden for a very long time, and then all of a sudden it surfaces, or there's something that somebody had said, back 20 years ago that gets brought up, and then they get smeared all over. It's like, yeah, but you have to understand there's also a lot of people that have done way worse shit that haven't. I mean, it's well known that they've done worse shit, but the media doesn't really do a whole lot about it.
Yeah, because I'm saying the fact that this thing even got legs astounds me, because we know if a 7-year federal investigation did not turn up anything, man, they ain't had nothing. They reaching. You know what I mean? Because so yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe he did that shit. Really, what I truly believe is that, he was a child star and a lot of pressures to be the front man for the group he was in and whatever kind of diminished his ability to be a child. And so some of those childlike qualities, he never outgrew them. And so I believe he was a truly innocent soul, and that, people, the nature of the beast is exploitative. People seen that, and instead of cherishing that type of energy, because it is not really prevalent out here these days, people chose to try to exploit it.
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing with the HBO special or a documentary or whatever is, because I didn't watch all of it. I just watched the first half, which was like 2-part thing, and I was like, whatever. I haven't gone back around to seeing it, but I mean, there's a lot of incriminating evidence, but that evidence is only testimonials, really. And another part of that is that you can't. Unfortunately, that's what people do nowadays, but they only get information from one source. So if I really wanted to have a political, viewed issue on this, I'd have to do more research instead of just the one source from HBO, because it gets more views by them saying that he did, because more people are talking about it now, obviously. Yeah. But I mean, if I did more digging into it, I'm sure I could find more stuff if he did or didn't. But I just don't have the time for it, man. He's he's dead. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I just find it. I just find it really, really odd that that Oprah backed this situation, but your good friend, say Harvey Weinstein got like how many accusers? I mean, like, and you ain't came out to say anything about that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you ain't said nothing about that though. But you know what I'm saying, you call yourself a friend
Are you
and all this, but
are you
but
saying Michael? Did you
hello?
say Oprah came back and basically talked about this Michael Jackson thing?
No, Oprah is the one who who put this project out through HBO.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I'm saying, and that's the thing too. Like you got your own network. Why I wasn't on your network? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
you yeah, why you go outside and do it with HBO?
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just some
Yeah.
hippie blogger was just making up a documentary.
Oh no. I'm saying somebody probably reached out to her people and she put the gas in the engine and got this thing pushing with HBO.
I did not know that, man. Well, that makes it even more kind of strange because maybe it was like to.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is kind of making a stretch, but maybe it was like to bring the heat off of Harvey Weinstein.
Oh yeah, because it seemed like conveniently, because we know when you think about like subterfuge and misdirection, people's the majority of the populace, their attention spans are so fleeting that something pertinent can be on the cusp or on the forefront of the news or whatever, and then some sensationalism comes and they completely forget about something that's way more detrimental and important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we know that happens all the time. So yeah, so conveniently when that documentary dropped, if I'm not mistaken, I'm saying another one of those cases had been dismissed, and
Uh,
you
of
got
which
women
cases? Of
who actually
Harvey Weinstein's cases?
yeah,
Oh,
but I think that I know about. I think he has like three. Initially he had like three cases that have been brought up. But I think so far like two have been dismissed.
hmm.
Yeah, and these are actual women who say man violated them, and you got like say, and these ain't just no broke ass attention wanting chicks that was failed actresses and all this stuff, and so
Yeah,
they try to say that oh that's the reason they're saying this. It's unfounded. No, you got like chicks like the chick from the Hunger Games said that he had forced oral sex on her. You know what I mean? Okay, Jennifer, what's her
Jennifer
name?
Lawrence.
Yeah, said that he had forced oral sex on her. Then you got the on the chick, the African chick, what's her name? Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, yeah,
She has a story to tell. Mira Sorvino, who her father Paul Sorvino played in a bunch of mob movies. Paul Sorvino say if he ever see that guy, he gonna punch him in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause
yeah,
say that man pretty much blackballed her career because she thwarted his advances. Because you ain't seen I ain't seen Mira Sorvino in nothing past what was that, Replacement Killers with Chow Yun Fat. I ain't seen
yeah,
her in nothing else. Yeah.
yeah. That's crazy, man. Like I know when all this stuff kind of came out, I started thinking about it. I was like, everybody's coming out and finally like letting this guy, get eaten alive by the media. But the fact that it went on for as long as it did and nobody said anything about it
Mm-hmm.
is disgusting. I mean, how the hell do you have somebody do this to so many people for so long and just like it just now comes out like what 20 something years later? It's like how many other people did he do it to that didn't make it as an actress or that did make it and just never said anything, or it's just crazy. Like you had the guy running Hollywood that was doing this to people, and it's just crazy how they didn't break it out sooner.
Yeah, because we don't hear a tale of that casting couch for forever. I mean, like we know that's that quid pro quo. and all this. Like, yo, you do something for me, I'll give you opportunity or whatever. And
Yeah.
sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I'm saying like, but I mean, I just think that that's been a thing. Like, it just transcends just the whole culture. I mean, like, because people act like it ain't just Hollywood. This type of stuff goes on in everyday business. And so you want to raise? Well, hey, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and go ahead and mop this little man for me right quick.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we know what's going on. We know
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
like, oh,
I know, man. And that's the. I mean, how many other people have done this kind of shit and just haven't been exploited yet? Because I mean, wasn't who was that like family friendly news anchor that was Harvey Weinstein like that got busted? What the hell was that guy's name? He had some pretty sadistic shit going on. He had like he was sitting in his office and had a button under his desk that he would push to lock the door.
hold on. It's a family friendly news anchor.
Yeah, he has. I want to say he was like NBC or he was on the Today Show.
Matt.
Matt Lauer.
Not Lauer.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was doing all kinds of shit like that. That's why he's not around anymore. They fired him.
Yeah, because I heard about it. Like I heard about him, Bill O'Reilly, and the dude from what's his name, Chris Hansen, To Catch a Predator. You know what I'm saying? Like about.
I heard about that. Chris Hansen. That was that was crazy.
Oh my god!
Like that. Chris Hansen, the guy that used to catch predators, and now he's like becoming one.
But I think his situation wasn't that. He just was cheating on his wife. Had like his wife of like so many years had like some type of cancer.
Yeah.
And he had some budding chick who had aspirations of being on the news or something. That he was had an affair with her. I think that's what his situation was.
Yeah. He wasn't like messing with kids or anything.
No.
But I mean, it's still, regardless what he was doing, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
But hey, I was also going to bring this up too, man. Before we get, because we're way off track, but regardless.
We off track like here.
Yeah. I was just saying, I saw this, and I know that I don't know if you've seen this, but I knew if I told you about it, you'd probably be pretty excited. But it says, for the first time ever, pharmaceutical distributor faces federal charges for opioid crisis.
Really? Where?
They're actually finally going to send one of these pharmaceutical companies. I forgot which one it was. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Their charges are against the wholesaler Rochester Drug Cooperative, and two of its former executives marked a new tactic for prosecutors in tackling the epidemic of addiction to prescription painkillers. So they were, I mean, I think it was last week's episode we were talking about it too, where like we came across this doctor and they called him, I think it was the Rock Doc, and he was prescribing like millions or hundreds of thousands to millions of these painkillers, like oxycodone, Vicodin, all that stuff, to people. And there's one lady, he gave her 800 doses in the span of 2 months.
Wow.
So he basically loaded her up, and then it killed her, obviously. And so it came out to where he was writing prescriptions. In return, he would have sexual favors done.
Wow.
Yeah. So he would do that. He wrote all these prescriptions, it killed the lady. She overdid it. And then before the police found out, the doctor called the husband of this deceased woman and said, I need you to go through the house and discard and dispose of every one of those bottles.
Oh.
Yeah. So this doctor was just like, I know I just killed your wife, but can you like not get me in trouble?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So seeing this to where these pharmaceutical companies are actually finally getting charged federally is just music to my ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it kind of, after seeing them, you know what I mean, pretty much do what they want to do, it kind of creates a certain cynicism in the critical thinking people. Like, man, these people is dealing with too much money for them to be ever held accountable. I mean, because I know it makes me feel like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course they make way too much money. I mean, and it's not just that, but they have such a stranglehold on, the medical industry. And I mean,
yeah,
they were all right. So this was this company that's getting sued. They had highly addictive opioids at pharmacies, knowing that the prescription medicines were being sold and used illicitly, of course, like most of them do. And then it said, quote, "We made mistakes. And the RDC understands that these mistakes directed by former management have serious consequences." And I smell bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like you knew exactly what you were doing. You were just like, just keep prescribing them. As long as we don't get in trouble, we're fine. That's with almost every pharmaceutical company.
It kind of got the same ring like with that Iran Contra shit. Like, we know it was bigger than Ollie North. I mean, but he was just the fall guy. And these guys who be in charge now, they seem like they just the fall guys for to get these people out the way so business can keep on moving on.
Exactly. I mean, it's just disgusting what's going on with it. I mean, I know we've covered it on the podcast a bunch of times before, but still, it's just like something new pops up every day, and it's just disgusting. Because I mean, like that one with the rock dog, just really drove it home. And this wasn't just one guy. It was a big sting across the entire East Coast.
So you said this is in Rochester, New York?
No, they called him the Rock Doc because he prescribed pills a lot.
Oh.
Because like he'd get sexual favors for writing prescription. This is just one example. They got like 40 different practices for this, this kind of shit. It was like a couple year long federal operation sting to catch all these guys.
And then now I think about it, this kind of reminds me of this like somebody that's like drug addled. That I mean, because you really, I mean. We are talking about adults, but at the end of the day, we know that people that's strung out on drugs are in their right state of mind.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like let's say like a crack addict willing to exchange sexual favors for their drug of choice. You know what I mean? Like advantage all the way down the line. You know what I mean? Like you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing in the first place. And then you is exploiting damaged individuals too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's literally a legal but more widespread drug ring. I mean, they're selling drugs, but it's just somehow legal. It's just insane to me how they because I mean they arrest people and put them in jail for a long time for selling drugs on the street, but if you do it from a pharmacy, it's completely okay. It's like you can still kill people, you can still overprescribe people, you can, it's just it's maddening that because I mean it's even hard to fathom to think that it's actually real when you go to a pharmacy and stuff. It's just like people are really doing this. So, but yeah, to go back to the. One final thing, man, with the prison thing, I wanted to say what would if anything, because like I said, I saw that article where Norway had made a humane prison to where they focus more on rehabilitation and preparing people for real life, getting them actual real jobs outside of the prison and just guarding them and then finally releasing them later on. But do you think something like that would ever work in the American prison system?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I think about that is I remember I moved to Texas in 2013, so this had to be like 2012. I saw in the newspaper that prison officials from Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia were all taking a trip to, I think it was the Netherlands, to kind of observe their prison system over there because they had such a low recidivism rate. And I thought, oh my God, this is the biggest crock of shit I ever seen. like, yo, you don't have to go back in there, boy. You don't have to. This ain't nothing but a vacation for you people, funded by the taxpayers.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to go to fucking Europe to understand the dynamics. Because you know, like when you used the word earlier, humane, these people over there that go to prison, they have real industrious programs where these people can get skills and they're not treated like second class citizens. But here it's to the point to where people, like, I'm gonna bring up this point right here and tie it back into this. Like, say for instance, like Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Now I've been seeing this for many years. This man has done his time. He did federal time for dogfighting. He came out. He was in arrears to the federal government for taxes for like $7 million. Paid off his debt to society. Paid off his debt to the government. Did PSAs for PETA and all this stuff. But yet, when this man tries some type of endeavor, whether he was putting together a comedy show in Memphis, Tennessee, it was protesters out there. When he was doing something at a football camp, he had to back out of it because protesters. So my point in that is, here it seems like people can serve their debt to society, but you get out of prison and try to resume your life, and mainly it's a racial dynamic on it, because I have seen we don't know how many deaths that Oliver North is responsible for his fuckery. We don't know, but it's in the thousands, because you basically leave a militia or army high-powered guns to do a war so you could fund whatever. Okay, this man has a show and ain't nobody calling him to task, still talking about that situation. Okay, you got Marv Alberts, who was he was called the voice of the NBA. He's like a broadcaster for NBA games and such. He was getting call girls where he would wear J's and lingerie and burn these chicks on their buttocks with cigars and bite them and all this weird shit.
Yeah.
He was charged for that, and he was able to resume his life as a broadcaster. Nobody never talks about that. When you got people of color who run afoul of the law, do their time, and come home and want to resume, and maybe they have a new outlook on life, and they ain't on they want to live a illicit lifestyle no more. They trying to just be gainfully employed and just live a regular life. You treat these people like second class citizens, you know what I mean? But you tax them like first class citizens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I knew when I came home, I said I'm gonna have to get to where I want to get in life, and I was fine with that, because in there, it was certain times where I might have had a job on a work farm making 13 cents an hour, working from sun up to sundown, picking sweet potatoes and soybeans. You know what I mean? So I figure if I got to get out here and work 2 minimum wage jobs to make a decent job or whatever, that's what I got to do. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be because like this whole situation like spreads out in many different areas. It's like, is that, and then it's the fact that, say you come from a impoverished neighborhood, you can't just because you thinking on a different wavelength, you can't just transport into a better situation. You got to work yourself out of that situation. Okay, so why you is things, but you live in this bad neighborhood. You constantly accosted by law enforcement. You know what I mean? Like you could be walking. Like it was many times I might have been walking to the store and I'm stopped by the police and asked for my ID and maybe frisked. Talking about I look suspicious. How the fuck do I look suspicious in a black neighborhood? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I mean, like,
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that there is a stigma, especially around people that have done time, especially.
yeah, really. And certain instances where I have dudes that I know, right, who have done time, and I'm gonna tell you something that I kind of overlooked. Likeable person, so you know, a lot of people that I know aren't just street people. You know what I'm saying? So, when people see that I was earnest in my attempt to get myself together, people will give me, opportunities at various jobs or whatever. So when I would come across dudes that I knew that would sing that song about, oh man, I got a record. Ain't nobody trying to give me a chance. And I'm thinking like, damn, my record is worse than yours. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
I don't think you're applying yourself. But I didn't realize the strength of networking until I moved to Texas. Kind
Yeah,
of,
that's all it is networking.
Yeah, because I feel like Texas for me was like the wilderness. I didn't know anybody besides who I was, my girl and her family, and none of them was in position to offer me employment. So I pretty much had to just go super hard to get an opportunity. And so I was like, wow, I might have been a little naive when people would say that, oh, nobody want to give me a job just because I didn't have a hard time. That doesn't mean that's the case for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely tough, man. And, working with you before, I appreciated your time. I know you're a good guy, but again, man, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. One of these days, man, we're gonna have to actually get you here in studio.
Oh yeah,
I want to get you in here,
Most
man.
definitely.
We'll have a long, full blown podcast with you, man.
Yeah, man, because I'm very opinionated on many things.
I know, man, and you're fun to talk to, and you're fun to listen to. So again, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, no doubt.
All right, guys, and so that was Emerge. Like I said, via Skype. So quality wasn't the best, but like I said, we did as best we could. But again, thank you guys for listening to the Pull It Back podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Pull It Back Podcast. And like I said, we'll be posting some of the stuff from this episode so you guys know what we're talking about as far as, picture of the car and whatnot. You can also follow us on Twitter at PullItBack1 and email us if you need at pullitbackpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you guys so much for listening to the episode, and we'll talk to you guys next week.